Hi, I'm Karen Perez, Chair of Hillsborough County School Board. I want to welcome you to Hillsborough County Public Schools, a donde servimos más de 200,000 de tus estudiantes. That includes children in preschool and adults through our workforce program.
I'm Nadia Combs, the school board's vice chair. Our district is the 7th largest in America, and our team is made up of 24,000 people working at close to 250 sites across the county.
Our district is diverse and dedicated. Our board meetings are held in our board auditorium on select Tuesdays at 4 p.m. The best way to serve our students and our community is to involve you, the public, in what we do.
You are welcome to meet or email any of our board members and follow our district on social media. School board meetings are covered live by Hillsborough Schools TV on Spectrum 635 and Frontier Channel 32.
Meetings are also streamed live on our website at hillsboroughschools.org. Closed captioning is provided on all broadcasts, and past meetings are available in our online archive.
We are interested in what the public has to say. We'll include time for audience comments before we address our business items. Our agenda and any supporting materials can be viewed online in advance. They are posted 7 days before each meeting on our website at hillsboroughschools.org.
Our vision is preparing students for life, and that means all students every day. Thank you for your commitment to education. With your help, we're making decisions that shape our community's future.
The board meeting of June 2nd, 2026 is called to order. Member Washington will now lead us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray, and I have a second by Member Rendon. Any discussion? Please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes with 4 votes. Let the record reflect that all board members are present, with the exception of Chair Perez and Member Hahn, and Member Vaughn will be here later on. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve today: May 5th, 2026 school board meeting and May 12th, 2026 school board recognition meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Rendon, and I have a second by Member Gray. Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And the motion passes unanimously. Board members, I'd like to go over the format of today's meeting. As a reminder, we're a nonpartisan board who believe all children can be empowered to learn, to succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave the way for efficient agenda statements and/or questions, board members will have 5 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterward, the superintendent can respond. If you have further questions, you're asked to get back into the queue. I'd also like to introduce, today we have 2 special guests. We have State Attorney Susie Lopez and our Board of County Commission, Gwen Myers. And thank you both for joining us. Member Washington will now lead us in the board guidelines.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. As we begin this afternoon meeting, please allow me to quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed caption on live website, on cable TV, on video monitors here in the auditorium. It also can be viewed with closed caption in the online video archives.
Thank you, Member Washington. We have 3 items scheduled for time certain. That's at 5:01. We have EO1 public hearing for recommended instructional materials for world languages and English language development, and EO2, which is the public hearing on the adoption of the revised policies. And at 6 o'clock, we do have employee and student input. We'll now go ahead and begin with the recognitions. AO1, recognition of students with perfect attendance from kindergarten through 12th grade. Yay, wow. At this time, I'd like to call Anne Marie Courtney, Director of Partnership Engagement, Philanthropy, and Outreach.
Good afternoon, board members, superintendent, members of cabinet, and our guests. Today, we recognize 7 students who have shown great commitment to their education through a demonstration of perfect attendance in kindergarten through 12th grade. To put that in yes. To put that in perspective, that is 2,340 days of consistent attendance in Hillsborough County Public Schools over 13 years of attending.
Woo! That's amazing.
James Womack once said, "Commitment unlocks the doors of imagination, allows vision, and gives us the right stuff to turn our dreams into a reality." I do not know if these 7 students we recognize tonight had a dream to earn perfect attendance from kindergarten through their senior year of high school, but they made that a reality. Each of our 7 graduating seniors with perfect attendance, kindergarten through 12th grade, are being presented with a $500 scholarship and gift cards from Suncoast Credit Union.
Wow.
Bob Hyde, Vice President of Community Impact with Suncoast Credit Union, is here with us this evening to celebrate this tremendous accomplishment. It is now my honor to introduce to you these extraordinary students. First, we have Julius Montalvo from Gaither High School.
Hey, go Cowboys.
Julius was unable to be with us this evening, so but I did want to make sure that we recognized him here this evening. So he made it when it mattered, right? That's all I gotta say. Okay. Next we have Nathan Jordan from Leonard High School.
Yay. His brother.
Our next graduate with perfect attendance is Noah Jordan from Leonard High School.
Wow. I guess they both stayed healthy together. That's amazing. My kids definitely didn't make it.
Our next graduate with perfect attendance, Amanda Harris, Newsome High School.
Hey. That's huge. That's amazing. Whose daughter? Oh.
Our next graduate with perfect attendance, Darius Donaldson Dunphy from Plant City High School.
Hi. Yay. So it's an accomplishment. That's the teacher.
Our next student, Sadie Jones from Sickle High School.
Father's a teacher. My father, he's a teacher. Small world.
And the last student, but certainly not least, Matthew Mason from Sickles High School.
He's from Sickles. All right. Yay.
Students, as you begin your journey beyond high school, I am confident that this accomplishment forecasts many successes in your future. A special thank you to the parents and families of these incredible students. Your support of your child's commitment to their education is greatly appreciated by all of us here in this room. Another heartfelt thank you to our educational partner, Suncoast Credit Union, for their generosity in providing these students with this $500 scholarship and gift cards. And congratulations, graduates, on your unique accomplishment of perfect attendance, kindergarten through 12th grade. Board, if we could have a picture, please.
Congratulations again. Those are different. Those are definitely individuals you want to hire because they're always going to show up. So that's really, really important. Next is AO2, the recognition of the Juneteenth National Independence Day, June 19, 2026. Member Washington will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate this. Juneteenth is a national day of observance that commemorates a 160-year-old celebration of freedom, resilience for Black Americans. On June 19, 1865, more than 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, enslaved Americans in Galveston, Texas, finally received word that they were now free by the Union General Gordon Granger. This celebration is a time to gather in our community to celebrate African American culture, tradition through music, storytelling, and food. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present that.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Thank you very much. We will now move to public comment. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking the time to be here. You have the right to speak about any issue you like, and you will not be interrupted. However, any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. We do request that you try to focus on issues. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. Remember that your 3 minutes start when you begin speaking. When there are 30 seconds left, you'll see a yellow light on the lectern and hear a chime. A red light and chime will indicate when your time is up. I'll now call up the 5 first speakers. Please come up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daryl Heitch. Mr. Washington just got done talking about the Juneteenth, and I'm reminded of a quote by Benjamin Franklin that says, democracy is two wolves and a lamb fighting over what to have for lunch. And liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. The last time I stood before you, I gave you numbers of the amount of students that were black and brown that had been suspended from school. I stand before you to apologize. I told you it was 46,000, but after doing a closer research, there's 129,424 days of school missed by black and Latino families between the years of 2023 and 2025. How can you celebrate Juneteenth when you got those type of numbers taking place? What we come to find out in the last 30 days is that, and looking at what was supposed to be spoken of, your code of conduct during this meeting that's been put off, your code of conduct has been the main source and the main reason for a systemic problem that's been happening in Hillsborough County Public Schools. The miscoding of our students and coding our kids where horseplay is determined fighting and engaging with a teacher unintentionally is given a 21 to 30 day suspension. When I look at that, I then come to realize other issues that come as a result of this system that you have and this culture that you created. No less than 3 weeks ago, Ms. Nina Williams and her family suffered something that no family should ever have to suffer in 2026. I recall my family in Calhoun City, Mississippi, when I asked the question, how did we end up in Ohio? And my family members told me it was because of the Klan and it was because of symbolisms and various things that led them out of Mississippi. And how do we stand in 2026 facing these same type of charges? It's a simple answer. You've created a culture and a system that allows this to permeate. And then you write a code of conduct that allows it to continue to move forward. If we hadn't been community advocates and been actively engaged with their code of conduct, many of these same factors will continue to take place. So I ask you to really pay attention to what's happening and what the community is saying. The community has some strong requests. Things such as giving us reports that we're looking for to learn about our code of conducts.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
How you doing today? I'm Elvis Piggott, pastor 20 years here in Hillsborough County. I want to first start by saluting and appreciating our superintendent for such a wonderful response to what took place at Barrington. When that happened, of course, it was absolutely horrifying and horrific, but the leadership and with the guidance and the assistance of our superintendent, our chief of schools, Rick Graves, phenomenal leadership. It did not take any at no time, no rehearsing. They jumped in and took care of business to make sure that this district realized that that kind of behavior is unacceptable. So I say kudos to your superintendent for your leadership and chief of schools. I also say to the FAST Act of our NAACP president, Yvette Lewis, jumping in, making sure that she navigated that family through that storm to let that family know they wasn't alone. Great leadership that we have in Hillsborough County. I want to also remind this board, it was 3 years ago that I came to this board and talked on behalf of my nephew that was called a nigger at Williams Middle School. That was the word the teacher looked at him and said. I asked then Addison Davis, the superintendent, to please send a letter and let this district know that we would not tolerate that kind of behavior throughout this district. Well, we failed to do that. So I come again now and ask our superintendent, which he has already addressed, which has made it clear that that kind of behavior would not be tolerated, that we make sure that we continue to enforce that. I also say, on behalf of teachers, it was brought to the attention several teachers that are FACE ambassadors that would no longer receive those stipends of $1,000 for doing the work of dealing with our community, these teachers, because that is over. But we yet have a FACE department that absolutely no principal I talk to have no idea what they do. No principal I talk to is they're supposed to be about community. We have team takeovers all over our community with young people. Faces missing. We want to see the face to face. This is not an opportunity to sit back and receive checks and get retirement until you decide to get out. These positions are to engage and prepare students for life. And while we're talking about a raised stadium and losing money, we're wasting 6 figures. These people are sitting in a department where there's no more stipends for the teachers that do the work every day, engage in community, but yet these leaders in the district, the chief of face, all these people get 6 figures to tell principals that it's not their job to engage with community. I'm asking the superintendent and this board, please, let's do something about it. It's too long that we have people sitting getting salaries and absolutely doing nothing that benefit our students. But again, thank you, Chief of Schools, and thank you, Superintendent, for all you guys do.
Thank you. And can speakers 6 through 10 please come up?
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Horch-Smith. I've spoken to this board several times before. I'm a 4th generation Tampa native, the mother of 2 sons, and I do want to say thank you to the leadership here for your actions in terminating the employment of Karen during the Barrington incident. As you all know, I always come prepared with remarks so that I could be as effective as possible. For many students and parents and educators, the incident at Barrington was not simply offensive, it was harmful. It damaged the trust and raised serious concerns on whether every child in Hillsborough County schools is safe, including my own. This incident is bigger than a classroom. It highlights an ongoing concern regarding racism, bias, and discipline policies that continue to disproportionately impact Black students across the district. We know that the data shows that Black and Hispanic students continue to receive discipline consequences at disproportionately higher rates than their peers. Families continue to report inconsistent treatment, unequal access to advocacy, and varying interpretations of the discipline policies depending on the school they attend. So tonight, I ask that the board continues to move beyond words and commit to measurable actions. First, I would love for you all to continue to adopt and communicate a zero-tolerance policy for racism, racial harassment, racial intimidation, and discrimination by employees, contractors, volunteers, and anyone serving within Hillsborough County Public Schools. I also know that you all have sent the request to revoke Karen's teaching license to the state, and I just simply ask that you continue to communicate with the community once the state has actually approved that so that we can feel safe that she is out of the classrooms where our children should be safely learning. Also, we had the opportunity as a committee to look at the student code of conduct and to observe what could possibly be coming down the pipeline. And so on record, I'd like to request that when it comes to video access and parents gaining video access, that we ensure that whatever policies are put into place, they are aligned with the rights that are outlined for all parents as it pertains to FERPA, and if those videos are a part of their children's educational records. I also ask that the district publicly displays and communicates the discipline data disaggregated by race for this school year. We were able to look at that for previous years, but now that this school year is over without delay, let's look at what progress has actually been made given the dedication of community members like myself and many others in this room who have worked diligently to put forth Beth's suggestions. I also want to make sure that going into this new school year, over the summer, we are holding our administrators responsible for developing Tier 1 plans, full Tier 1 plans that are in place, and that these administrators, the APs and the principals, are also trained, fully trained on whatever changes are going to come forth in the revised student code of conduct that you'll eventually vote to approve. Training is as critical as the changes that are made. And lastly, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, school board members. My name is Mrs. Lucinda Johnson, and I'm here today as a concerned citizen, guardian, advocate for education, and participant in district committees supporting students. I want to ask this board an important question. When parents, guardians, and students report bullying, discrimination, student safety concerns, or staff misconduct, can they trust that those matters will be investigated thoroughly, fairly, and objectively? Many within this district, including myself as a parent and families connected to Barrington Middle School, continue to raise serious concerns regarding bullying, investigation, staff conduct, transparency, and whether decisions are sometimes made before investigations are fully completed. These concerns reflect broader issues involving accountability and public trust. Community members also observed that major corrective actions involving a former staff member occurred only after public attention brought wider visibility to the situation. Moments like this understandably leave many questioning whether serious matters receive the same urgency without outside exposure. Parents should not have to rely on social media attention, repeated escalations, educational advocates, or attorneys before meaningful actions take place. Families should feel confident that concerns will be addressed appropriately the first time they are reported. Concerns also extend into special education. An IEP or accommodation plan may look appropriate on paper, but without consistent daily implementation, those supports are never fully delivered to the student. The district often speaks about parental involvement and partnership. However, many engaged parents and guardians, including me and my husband, continue to feel dismissed when advocating for our children's needs and safety. Parents and guardians are not the opposition. We are partners. We should all share the same goal, student success. This community deserves a school system where accountability is consistent, student safety is prioritized, and families are treated as true partners in their children's education. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Chair, board members, and Superintendent. My name is Sue Bottiglieri, and I'm a parent of 2 children in the Apollo Beach area of South County. As we head into the summer months, I wanted to take a moment to keep the conversation about South County's educational future active and front of mind. The state budget is currently awaiting final approval from Governor DeSantis, and its funding decisions will help shape the future of school construction, facility improvements, and long-term planning across the district. As Hillsborough County continues to grow, it is more important than ever that we remain focused on solutions that meet the needs of both current and future students. That is why I'm here tonight to remind you that South County remains an area of significant growth and demand, and that demand continues to support the need for a public K-8 option in our community. At a previous board meeting, I shared data showing that while more than 584 zoned students currently attend Dobie Elementary, over 850 students who are zoned for Dobie are choosing other educational options. Those numbers reflect today's enrollment and do not account for the continued residential growth occurring throughout our area. This data tells an important story. Families are seeking alternatives, and many are looking specifically for educational models that better meet their needs. A neighborhood K-8 option remains one of those opportunities. At the same time, we recognize that Eisenhower is an important part of the solution. These are not competing priorities. We can continue working to improve and strengthen Eisenhower while also exploring a K-8 pathway that serves the growing needs of South County families. While the funding mechanisms for these projects may differ, both investments support the district's broader goals of retaining students, serving communities, and planning responsibly for future growth. We also recognize the concerns surrounding the closure of Pizzo K-8. The strong community response underscores the value families place on K-8 schools and the role they can play in attracting and retaining students. As the district evaluates its options, we hope a solution can be found that best serves students, families, and the community. As discussions continue over the coming months, I respectfully ask that the board keep South County's needs in mind. The demand is there, the growth is coming, and the opportunity to create solutions that benefit both current and future families remain in front of us. Thank you for your time and continued consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Juan Hernandez, and I am a motivated parent, continuing to advocate for the expansion of Dobie into a K-8. We've had a lot of conversations in the past, and we understand that the education system right now is going through a lot of changes, and there's a lot of evolving needs out there in the community. And we fully support the continued transformation happening at Eisenhower, but understand that a lot of parents at the same time are looking to go ahead and move into a K-8 model and see that as an opportunity and a great place to happen at Dobie. There are a lot of examples of great K-8s out in the community already. Piso is one, and you see the parents and community already actively trying to support keeping that around. So, we just want to go ahead and continue to put that out in front of the board that the South Shore community is very dedicated to looking at additional choices and options to go ahead and expand education in the community through the public school system and making sure that it's as strong as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, John Green. Let's talk about fairness in law. I've been coming down here for 2 years talking about the same issue up until today. A kid hanging at the focal point of a television, a black doll with a noose around their neck. That's a life-changing psychological impact that kid would have for the rest of their lives, everyone that was in that classroom. Let's talk about felons being on school property, right? You had that information, you know about it, and you haven't done anything, right? So where does fairness in law make changes when you know? It's one thing when you don't know, it's another thing when you do know. I agree with the president that they took, the NAACP president. I agree with her. Yes, they didn't probably not do any diversity training or taking Black history books out of the school. I agree with that. However, you was quick to fire the teacher, and that's a good thing, right? But you're not quick enough to really look at the evidence of a felon being on Gary Adult School property in which you know, right? And because y'all analyze the data, right? Well, let me let you hear it for yourself.
The student, the parent, and the teacher. Thank you for allowing us to advocate for each one holistically. If you are a member of the NAACP Hillsborough County branch, I'm going to ask that everyone please stand.
So she let y'all know. She let y'all know that y'all analyze the data, y'all do strategic planning, and you implement. But I haven't seen you implement the Jessica Lunsford law yet, and you know it. So I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm not done, and I'm going to continue to speak because it's not right to this community, it's not right to the kids, and everyone, every kid in this school district deserve to be safe.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Bishop Michelle B. Patty. I also like to thank Van Ayers, the superintendent, for his swift action. However, it's unfortunate that it's selected. A week ago, there was an elderly lady that was pushed down over at Milton High School at a graduation. I do understand that it was not Milton High School graduation, but it was a charter school that used that facility. But the people that was in attendance have called me and said that there was no security or anyone at that facility. Now, it leads back to this board. You all do not follow your contracts. You do not adhere to certain things that has been brought before you. So I guess your subordinates are following what the head is doing, and that's overlooking what's in a contract. Now, as a taxpayer, we're going to be sued because this lady was injured on this property. Nowhere in this country that I know of where you allow the NAACP to have free rent, a free office, and we're in this condition that we're in. You had the first used to be the first vice president of the NAACP talk about the absentees and the suspension and everything that's going on. When you have a office of the NAACP sitting on taxpayers' property, we should not be talking about racism. We should not be talking about children being thrown out of school, because you all are collaborating with her. You all are collaborating with them. And so we should not in 2026 be having this discussion in Hillsborough County about how our children are being left behind, teenager takeover. We're looking at incarceration of kids. We're looking at kids killing kids. And not one time have I ever heard this president speak out against those actions. Yes, she's a Johnny come lately, but there's record of $100,000 that the city of Tampa put on the books for this NAACP to receive. But they have not been able to collect the money because they have no program that they have been able to show why they should receive that money. This organization, for the 7 years she's been the president, has not had any, has never had an election. There are so many ills that's going on, but it's because of this board not adhering to what you all are supposed to be doing, reading the contract, implementing the contract, and not showing favoritism. So I stand as a parent, grandparent, great-grandparent, saying that it's time out for this foolishness. I never thought that at 72 I would be seeing and hearing the racist thing that is going on in this school board, especially since we have the president on board.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, school board, cabinet chairs, and everybody else present. My name is Malachi Jamar Douglas. I am a rising junior at Thomas Jefferson High School. Today, I'd like to speak to you all about archaeology honors, as is a course request. It integrates several standards within geology, biology, anatomy, physiology, and even more subjects that can all be combined as a science course. I ask not today, not tomorrow, but one day soon to vote on this and make this a real reality for not just our county, but for all of the state of Florida. Archaeology honors fills a gap that I noticed very quickly on looking at the state's CCD course code directory. There's so many science courses that are repeated, not just by ACE, not just by AP, not just by IB, but that's it. It's like 7. Compare that to social study classes, 50, 100, so many more. And so I want to add one more, not just because, I want to add one more because I want to actually get a unique experience in school while I have the chance, not just the same little pathway. I want to actually have like a unique experience. I respectfully ask the board that to consider moving forward with a vote someday soon, so that way students in the state of Florida can have access to a program that's academically rigorous by creation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Morrow. So regardless of how much we may wish to disassociate ourselves from Tampa of the 1850s or to disclaim that society, we provide the foundation, it provides a foundation for modern Tampa only by understanding the reality of black-white relations under slavery can we hope to comprehend its legacy. Those words were written by historian R. Wade Wetherington in 1990, and unfortunately, they remain relevant today. Whether Karen's actions were intended to be as a joke, a prank, or something else, the image carried a painful historical meaning that many students immediately recognized, thanks to the parents and some history teachers. Y'all rock. Many people want to view incidents like this as isolated events, but they are often a part of a larger pattern. We have seen situations where a black person simply waiting outside of a bank was viewed as suspicious enough for the police to be called. We have seen black residents questioned, followed, and treated as threats while doing ordinary things. I appreciate you, Mr. Ayers, and the board for your swift actions in response to this incident when it became public, but we also need that same sense of urgency when racial microaggressions become ingrained within a school's culture. The point is not simply to punish the individual actions, it is to address the roots that allow these incidents to take place in the first place. So what are we as a community asking for? Accountability and more education on African American history. And y'all know I love Tampa's African American history. So I have some summer reading for you. Now this first one's free. The Negroes Are There to Stay: The Development of Tampa's African American Community by Dr. Larry Eugene Rivers and Dr. Cantor Brown. And these two books you can get off Amazon. Family Records of African American Pioneers of Tampa and Hillsborough County by Dr. Cantor Brown, and Tampa in Civil War and Reconstruction by Dr. Cantor Brown. Mr. Washington, when you spoke earlier, you talked about Juneteenth, June 15th, 1865. Thank you. I also wanted to acknowledge Tampa's Emancipation Day as well, May 6th, 1864, a full year before Juneteenth. Okay. And you may have learned about that from Mr. Fred Hearns. Shout out to him. But did you know there were also 142 black soldiers listed as in action in Tampa on that day, May 6, 1864? And what a beautiful sight that must have been. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have about 3 speakers left.
Good afternoon, everyone. Angela Colanello here. Thanks for fitting us in last minute. I want to take a moment and say that I am so proud of my community being here. I didn't expect to see so many people, and I do need to say that I apologize for the event or the events that have brought them here, but I want everybody to know that we are standing together and that we are here to hold ourselves, our school district, and our board accountable as well. So I really hope that in all of that you are listening, and it's not just our school board members, it's the district and everybody behind. I hope that you are taking the time to really take in everything that the community is saying. With that, Piso K-8, we know that the contract has ceased at this time, but what a lovely opportunity that we have to create a new one. The community for Piso has not necessarily been listened to. We tried to get as many people out here as possible. Some may have been fearful to come out, some may have been busy, but what a great time to, start a new contract. We can get some more conversations open. We have a lot more that can be done there. So with that and with discussions with Adobe, we see that there is a lack of communication with community and the school district. So whether it is listening to our school and revisiting our community and potentially revisiting our contract, whether it is moving us to Adams and taking the Sulphur Springs Middle School to Adams and keeping our family together and protected, whether it is listening when it's time to make choices about Dobie to give them the K-8 that they are asking for to make life easier for them, to ensure safety for their community, and whether it is listening to anyone who has appeared before you today demanding more safety for our students in our community. I hope that we all listen and we take the opportunity to create a community department or do something to get more input from us so that we can keep everybody safe and everyone moving forward in our academics. When we talk about history, Anthony Piso actually did a wonderful job documenting the history of the Civil War and the history of the 1900s and 1920s and 30s. And if you want to take a look at USF's library, his documents are actually housed there, which is more of an important reason to keep Piso on the USF campus. So I do invite everyone to take a look at all of those relics. I'm going to say I think that's all I have for you today. I appreciate that you are listening, and let's keep that community in mind.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, School Board of Hillsborough County and Superintendent Van Iris. Before, when I was first thinking about coming to this meeting, I wrote a speech. And I was like, while I was standing aside, I was like, a speech is how I'm feeling at that time. And at that point, thinking about PZOK, I was a little angry. So I decided instead of going in and being angry, because I know y'all are trying, I'm going to try and do this calmly. I get the fact that it's not your fault. It's USF's decision, and they're being a little greedy right now, and you can't change that. But as many people has brought up, we could be moved to Adams. So instead of just trying to move on from this, think about it more clearly, because we only have one more year left. School is out. Maybe students might be happy, but other parents are thinking about what are we going to do, because the world is becoming less affordable. People are having to move in very short amounts of time, and my parents are going through it right now. So I'm asking you, review it more clearly. Come speak to the students, because a lot of them don't even know what's going on. The elementary students are writing little tiny posters trying to save their school, and it's not just cute, it's sickening. It's hard to think about, because they are losing a home, a second home. Not just a place, not just a building, it's a home. So come speak to the students, and I'm leaving. So for me to be up here, that should say something. I'm no longer in that school. I'm a freshman now, I could be moving on. But I know how it feels to be there. There's a culture there. So stop trying to leave it all behind. I've looked at the website, y'all all have multiple schools that y'all have. I get that y'all have more priorities, but Piso is an amazing school. You see, the community just brought it up. A K-8 model. We are not just good, we're not just great, we're amazing. So instead of just trying to leave it all, review it. Look at it further and see it from the inside. Don't just hear the community, come see the community. Because I've only heard one person come to that school. And I think it, but it's Jessica Vaughn. I've only heard one person come to that school, and that's it. And a newspaper came to my door in the last meeting that said that some crazy secrets that made me angry. Those made me angry. So instead of just moving on, look further. Come to the school. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker for tonight.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing this opportunity to speak. I'm Anthony J. Piso, son of Anthony P. Piso, the namesake of Piso K through 8. And I'm here today to speak on the behalf of the Piso family, let you know their thoughts. Many of you probably don't know who Tony Piso was or remember the name. He died in 1994. It's very understandable, but he was a historian. He wrote a couple of books on the history of Tampa. He wrote many, many articles. He was the force behind putting up many of the plaques, and he did a lot of work with the USF in particular. The first thing he was asked to do was to narrate a 10-part TV series called Tony Piso's Tampa, which was broadcast on USF television and was actually produced by USF. He also taught an evening course on Latin influence in Tampa, and he did other things that were involved with the school, and so there was a close relationship between him and the school. Now, when he passed away in 1994, there were many very nice things done for him, including erecting a statue in Centennial Park in Ybor City. And then where you come in is you very generously and very kindly offered to name a school after him, and approached my mother, with some very kind offers, including a high school, I believe a middle school, but one in special stood out, and that was the Piso K through 8, what it is now, this developmental school where the students at USF could come over, the educational students could learn and progress in their course to becoming teachers. We thought about the relationship between the school and my father, and it was a very easy decision. And we have been so proud and so pleased with what we've seen and heard about that over the years. Unfortunately, we were not aware of the events, and we were invited and did see this community, and indeed it is a special community with special kids with special needs at a very young age, and we would like to, on the behalf of the entire Piso family, encourage you to revisit this thing, discuss it with the University of South Florida, where apparently it's become a financial issue instead of an educational one, and we fully support this school continuing with the faculty, administration, and these dear students. And I'd like to thank in particular Ms. Vaughn for her help with all this. And thank you very much for your attention this afternoon.
Thank you. And we are done with public hearing for now. We'll now move the consent agenda. I need a motion, a second, to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray. I have a second by Member, let's see again, by Member Vaughn. Yes. Okay, please vote when your lights appear. The consent agenda has been approved unanimously. We will now move to administrative appointments. Superintendent Ayers to highlight our administrative appointments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So board members, on the consent agenda, we actually have 8 principal appointments. Some are transfers, some are new appointments. 2 of them, one of them middle, 1 high, and then 6 elementary. So I'm going to take a moment to go through the 8. And we're going to start off with our new principal at Freedom High School, and that is Deanna McCann. Deanna, where are you at? All right, go ahead and stand up, Deanna. So Deanna, in 2003, she transferred to South Carolina Career Center as a teacher and intervention specialist. Ms. McCann transferred to East Bay High School in 2009 as a resource teacher. 2010, she was appointed assistant principal of student affairs and later assistant principal for curriculum at Spoto High School. She then transferred to Sumner as APC in 2019. In 2021, she was appointed the principal at Shields Middle School, where she's currently serving. So she moves from our principal of Shields to our new principal at Freedom High School. Deanna, congratulations.
Yay.
I see some freedom, any freedom or family and friends of Deanna want to stand up, be recognized as well, see who's there to support? All right. Congratulations, Deanna. All right, we also have a new principal over at Buchanan Middle School, and that is Christina Vega. Christina, come on up. So you guys know, of course, know Christina as you did Deanna. Christina began her career in Hillsborough County as a bilingual aide at Dowdell. 2013, she began teaching science at Sly Middle School until 2020, where she was named assistant principal. In 2022, she transferred to Sulphur Springs as assistant principal. And in 2025, Ms. Vega was appointed principal at Tampa Bay Boulevard, where she currently serves, and now the new principal at Buchanan Middle School. Christina Vega, congratulations. Thanks, Christina. All right, and we also, there's another transfer. We have the new principal at Bryant Elementary, Victoria Morris. Victoria, where you at? Come on up. So Ms. Morris began her teaching career in 1995 with Hillsborough County Public Schools, teaching first grade at Mitchell Elementary School. 2001, she transferred to Lutz Elementary, where she taught for 12 years. Ms. Morris began serving as a peer evaluator for the district in 2013. 2017, she was appointed assistant principal at Bryant Elementary. Ms. Morris was appointed principal at Woodbridge Elementary in 2021, where she's currently serving. So she moves from principal at Woodbridge to the new principal at Bryant Elementary. Ms. Morris, congratulations. So we had some transfers there, so now we're going to move into some new principal appointments. And of course, your first, as we were talking earlier, your first appointment is that first day as a principal, and appointment's a major deal and something you look forward to your entire career. So Lizette Beltran, our new principal at Canella Elementary. Lizette, come on up. So Lizette began her career with Hillsborough County Public Schools in 2006, teaching 3rd and 5th grades at Lomax Elementary. 2008, she transferred to Schwarzkopf Elementary, where she taught and later took on the role as the ELO resource and reading resource teacher. 2022, Ms. Beltran was appointed assistant principal at Canella Elementary, where she's currently serving. So from AP at Canella Elementary to now the new principal at Canella, Lizette Beltran. Lizette, congratulations. And I missed it earlier, but Canella Elementary, I know some family and friends of Lizette. Canella, I see you back there if you want to stand up as well. Let's see who's supporting there. There they are. And I missed Buchanan. We had some family and friends from Buchanan. Want to miss that? Where are they at? I know you had so much of support. There we go. Don't want to miss anybody. And did I miss Bryant too? Victoria, I missed you. Family and friends, thank you. There we go, Bryant. Sorry I missed that. All right. Now we have another new principal appointment, and this is Christina Calv, the new principal at Lowry Elementary. Christina, come on up. So Christina began her teaching career with Hillsborough County Public Schools in 2006 as a 3rd grade teacher at Cahoon. She later taught at Sims and Collins until 2012 when she served as science coach at Lockhart Elementary and then on to the district level role. 2016, she served as a science resource teacher at Town and Country Elementary. Ms. Calv was appointed assistant principal of Carrollwood K-8 in 2022, where she currently serves. From assistant principal at Carrollwood K-8 to our new principal at Lowry Elementary, Christina Calv. Congratulations. We got some family and friends of Christina back there. You want to stand, Lowry? All right. Christina, congratulations. Yes. All right, another new principal appointment. This is Carmen Hinton, our new principal at McDonald Elementary. Carmen? There comes Carmen. So Carmen began her career in education at Cleveland Metropolitan School District in Ohio in 2013, moved to Florida and began her teaching career with Hillsborough County Public Schools in 2019, teaching varying exceptionalities at Kimball Elementary. In 2021, she was appointed assistant principal at Lewis Elementary, where she's currently serving. So she moves from the assistant principal at Lewis Elementary to our new principal at McDonald Elementary School. Carmen, congratulations. And again, family and friends of Carmen or McDonald that are back there, stand up, please. There they are. And Carmen followed some big footsteps, so we did have a retirement over at McDonald. Deanna couldn't be here today, but Deanna Ham has dedicated 26 years of service to Hillsborough County Public Schools. And as you know, in 2022, she was appointed a principal at McDonald Elementary. And under her leadership, McDonald Elementary achieved a school grade of B in 2025. As Ms. Hahn enters her well-earned retirement, we celebrate her remarkable journey, her lasting contributions to our district. So Deanna, thank you for everything you did at McDonald. I know we're in good hands with Carmen. Carmen, congratulations. All right, we got two more, and these are some transfers. We have a new principal over at Morgan Woods Elementary, Jennifer Hines. Jennifer, come on up. And everybody knows Jennifer from our principal at Edison. But Ms. Hines began her career in Hillsborough County in 2005, where she taught 2nd grade at Dunbar, then transferred to Edison, where she taught 2nd and 3rd grades until 2018, when she became the reading coach. 2019, she was appointed assistant principal at Muller Elementary and then assistant principal at Edison in 2020. Of course, you know 2023, she appointed principal at Edison, and now she is our new principal and taking over at Morgan Woods Elementary. Jennifer, congratulations. And family and friends, Morgan Woods, family and friends of Jennifer, stand up. All right. And new principal at Tampa Bay Boulevard, Amy Metzler. Amy, come on up. So we all know Amy is the principal at Tampa Heights Elementary, so she's now being transferred over to Tampa Bay Boulevard. Amy began her career in education in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and later Cobb County, Georgia. Ms. Metzler moved to Florida in 2010, where she began her career in Hillsborough County Public Schools, teaching 5th grade at Summerfield Crossings Elementary, then on to Shore Elementary. 2013, she became a math coach and served at Shore, Tampa Heights, Potter, and Bing Elementaries, as well as a district-level math coach. She was appointed assistant principal at Sulphur Springs K-8 in 2019. And in 2020, 2022, she was appointed the principal at Tampa Heights, where she currently serves. Now our brand new principal over at Tampa Bay Boulevard Elementary. Congratulations. Mr. Graves, we got all the principal appointments, right? Got them all? All right. So those are our 8 principal appointments for board members. I also have, I'm very excited that I also have 2 cabinet level positions that I would like to announce this evening. So in addition, all right. In addition to our principal appointments, we have 2 new cabinet members that I am appointing tonight. These 2 leaders will strengthen the district's focus on school safety, employee support, and organizational excellence. First, I want to congratulate Chief Anthony Collins. Anthony is our new Chief of Security and Emergency Management. Come on up. So, board, of course, our role creating a safe and supportive learning environment for our students and staff remains our highest priority every day. The Chief of Security and Emergency Management position is a critical position for us, and I'd first like to thank Chief John Newman for his dedication for the past 12 years. He has created a solid foundation that Chief Collins will now carry on. And Chief Collins is bringing more than 2 decades of distinguished public safety leadership to our district. A highly respected law enforcement executive, he most recently served as Chief Deputy of Support Operations for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the nation. He served as Incident Commander for Emergency Operations, oversaw the School Resources Deputies Program, and played a leading role in numerous large-scale security operations in our schools over the years. In this new role with the district, Mr. Collins will lead all aspects of school security, including threat assessment, emergency preparedness, crisis response, and community safety initiatives. Mr. Collins holds a Master of Science in Criminal Justice from St. Leo University and served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army National Guard. Chief Collins begins his role tomorrow on June 3rd. Please join me in congratulating Chief Collins, our new Chief of Security and Office Security Management. Y'all can stand up. Anybody with Chief Collins, stand up. Chief Collins, congratulations. And board members, I also have one other. I love the energy in here tonight. This is awesome. It's great. I also have one other position. I would like to congratulate Danielle Shotwell, our new Chief Human Resources Officer. Come on up, Danielle. I think everybody knows Danielle, but I'm just going to go through this anyway. Right? Everybody knows Danielle. So Danielle has nearly 30 years experience with Hillsborough County Public Schools. She began her career in the classroom as a math teacher and a coach. She then transitioned into school leadership, serving as a high school assistant principal and later as a principal before moving into the district level roles. She currently serves as the district's general manager of budget and federal finance, where she oversees district-wide budgeting and federal financial planning. In her new role, Danielle will oversee district human resources operations, including recruitment and retention, employee relations, labor relations, employee onboarding, and benefits administration. The position plays a key role in supporting employees across this district and fostering a strong, positive organizational culture. She holds an educational specialist degree and a Master of Educational Leadership from the University of South Florida, along with a Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics Education. She will begin her role effective July 1. Please join me in congratulating Danielle Shotwell, our new Chief Human Resources Officer. And family and friends with Danielle, I think all of HR is here. And everybody's standing up. And board members, please note, Mr. Lewis did not stand. He's the one person that's not as ecstatic as everyone else. No comment. Board members, those are our 8 principal appointments that are new, 2 new cabinet level positions for the evening. Thank you.
Congratulations to everyone. I'll give everybody a few minutes to clear out. We'll take a short break and then continue with our policies.
Is Scott here, or what's this?
Okay, we're going to resume the meeting with the hearing on policies. We're running a few minutes late, but 01 public hearing for recommended instructional materials for world languages and English language development. I'll now open the public hearing for the instructional materials adoption process. This is a requirement pursuant to state law and board policy. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak about instructional materials recommended for adoption and to provide input to the board. The materials were advertised and have been available for public review. I'll now ask Gary Brady, Chief Academic Officer, to present this item. After his presentation, any member of the public may speak to provide input to the board to the proposed instructional materials. Thank you. Mr. Brady?
Good afternoon, School Board Chair, board members, superintendent, and staff. At this time, the board is conducting a public hearing on instructional materials being recommended for adoption. The list of materials is attached to the agenda item and includes materials for world languages and English language development. These materials have been reviewed by a district adoption committee, reviewed and voted on by teachers, and are being recommended for adoption. As required by state statute, a 20-day public review of recommended materials and a public hearing is required before the board can vote for the adoption. The public review requires that the district provide digital access to the recommended materials via the district website. The public review was conducted beginning on May 13th, 2026 through June 2nd, 2026. The public hearing this evening is to provide the opportunity for community members to share comments about these materials with the board. The board does not need to take action at this time, but will be asked to vote at the next regularly scheduled board meeting, July 14th, 2026. At this time, you may call for public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak to the public hearing on the adoption of the instructional materials? I will now close the public hearing, and we'll move on to the next one. Public hearing on the adoption of revised policies. I'll now open the public hearing on the revised policies adoption process. This is a requirement pursuant to the state law and board policy. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak about the policies that are recommended for adoption by the board and to provide input to the board. The policies were advertised and have been available for public review. Mr. Jim Porter, our school board attorney, will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair and school board members. As you'll recall, these policies were heard in workshop on March 31st. You all approved the policies going forward. They've been properly advertised and amended to reflect all the concerns that you all had, and they're ready for adoption. You should ask if anybody wants to speak, and then the board will be ready for a motion and a vote.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak for the public hearing and the adoption of the revised policies? Okay. I will now close the public hearing. I need a motion, a second to adopt the policies. I have a motion by Member Gray. I have a second by Member Rendon. Any discussion? Any discussion? If not, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We will now listen to our board items for this evening. The following items will now be heard: C101, C402, C403, C404, C602, and C715. 101, adoption purchase of recommended instructional materials for middle school science, English advanced placement, and high school reading. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The recommended titles for adoption and purchase were thoroughly reviewed and voted upon by a committee and teachers. These titles will serve as the core instructional tool for middle school science, advanced placement English courses, and high school reading. Per Florida Statute 1006.283 and School Board Policy 2510, the district must provide a 20-day public review period and conduct a public hearing before the board can approve the purchase of newly adopted materials. That public review was from April 15th, 2026 to May 5th, 2026, with the public hearing conducted at our May 5th, 2026 board meeting. This item is placed on the discussion agenda in accordance with state guidelines requiring that the approval and purchase of adopted instructional materials be kept as a separate item for approval on the discussion agenda, and that is 101.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to adopt item C101. I have a motion by member Washington and a second by member Rendon. This item is for newly adopted materials and must be voted on by school board separate from the consent agenda. Any questions or comments? Please vote. Any questions? Okay, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. 402, request for proposals of employee benefits and risk management consulting services. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll have a rather extensive highlight on this item. The district partners with a benefits consultant to provide numerous services, including strategy and design, financial and actuarial consulting, vendor management and renewal, legal consulting, and clinical and claims audits. Annually, on average, we receive at least 3,000 hours of support from our consultants' health solutions team. The district's benefits consultant must be a strong partner and advocate for HCPS as we administer self-funded group health insurance and a variety of additional benefits offerings. On February 2nd, 2026, our procurement department, in conjunction with employee benefits, issued a request for proposals, or an RFP, to secure employee benefits consulting services. So 3,000, and within that RFP, 3,204 vendors were notified through VendorLink and DemandStar. 72 vendors downloaded the RFP, and we had 6 vendors submitted proposals. 4 vendors submitted complete proposals: Alliant, Aon, CBiz, and Gallagher. And again, 4 vendors submitted complete proposals, and those are the 4 I mentioned. The committee reviewed vendor submissions and work products, and they rated vendor bids on scope of services and delivery approach, qualifications, capability and experience, cost/best value, and utilization of small business enterprises. The RFP committee's highest ranked bidder was Aon Consulting, who received top scores in all categories. Partnering with Aon provides the district with the opportunity to maximize benefit offerings with a consulting firm that is consistently considered best in class and at the top tier of employee benefits consulting services. And Madam Chair, that is 402.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item C402. I have a motion by member Washington. I have a second. Okay, I need a second. By member Vaughn, member Rendon, member Gray, member Vaughn, and I. We've all pulled this item, and we'll start with any questions or comments. Who'd like to get started? We'll start with member Vaughn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I understand that a committee chose this and that we've been partners with Aon for a long time, and Tracy's done a good job of helping me understand the value and the partnership. But from my own personal experience, I had a meeting with them. I had requested some information to really understand the plan design. I got no information. I got no follow-up. I got no communication about it. And for me, it's been extremely frustrating to see the value if I can't even get simple questions about plan design answered, because, you know, our health plan and what we offer our employees is one of the most important things that we can do, especially right now with, as we see in the next item, healthcare rising so much, and, you know, just everything that revolves around healthcare and keeping our employees healthy. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to vote no on this, but I appreciate all the work that you put into it, all of this health stuff and the committee. I just wanted to give some explanation behind my vote. Thank you.
Thank you, member Vaughn. Member Rendon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm going to kind of combine my comments for 402, 403, and 404 because it's relative, right? Based upon hiring your benefits manager plan is going to reflect all of the other benefits that we offer to our employees, especially going self-insurance. I would have preferred that our management plan be the first thing we do, not the last thing we do in a year. It should have been the very first thing we did so that management could have created a full circle plan. When we met, Tracy and Marie, I asked you for some ROIs. You guys made it very clear that we're just below the mark of what we spent last year to what we spent this year. And I said, well, how does that relate to the number of employees we're touching? And I asked for those differences. I've never gotten that, because if we raised it last year by 30% and yet we're costing less than we were last year, then that tells me I've got less employees utilizing our benefits. And so what are we really providing to our employees? At the same time, I'm being told that if we don't do any of these additional plans, we're going to increase another 24%. Leave that to 30% last year, 24% this year. That is a 54% increase in our plans to our staff. And yet when we talk about the plans that were created, you told me that the zero cost to the employee plans are going to work very much like having the preferred providers in that plan. So we get this in our benefits, our staff will get good benefits, but they're the providers that are going to be less costly. And I said, well, then why aren't we doing that across the board to all of our plans? And you told me it's a 3 to 5 year plan. Well, we're there now. Our employees cannot pay for our insurance. This district cannot pay for a 54% increase over the course of 2 years. We don't have the money. And every dollar we put in this is another dollar that could be in our pockets of our employees. The fact that we go to a plan with preferred providers for the zero cost to employees, and yet you want me to spend another $1.5 million for an online plan that my staff can go online, pick a provider, and get the thing back, and it's a preferred plan, so it'll be less costly to the district, and they get their reimbursement. Why aren't we already doing that in all of our plans? Why do I have to pay another $1.5 million to have preferred providers that are going to be less costly to the district and still provide good insurance to our employees? None of that makes any sense, that we're not doing it across the board. And the fact that you know we need to do it, but you're planning it over 3 to 5 years is disturbing. We should be doing it today. We should look at Aon and say, listen, this is the pot of money we've got. Give me all the options that you can go out there and get for this pot of money, because we have to be giving our teachers salary increases. I need raises. I need things that are going in their pocket, and yet those pockets are leaving. It's going out. This is not a benefit to our employees at this point. Our employees can't pay $80 for a copay, $50 for a copay, $40 for a copay. My God, it's $80 just to go get us a tank of gas. And we just don't have it. We should not be increasing the number of things we're paying for in order to get a lower cost on our insurance. It doesn't add up. Every time I bring a new thing. So I'm a no to all 3 of these plans because the combination does not add up. Going to self-insurance should have given our HR department and Aon the opportunity over the last 6 months to create a better plan for our employees at less cost effectiveness to our district. And yet, even if it was an equal plan, even if it was we limited the number of providers in order for us to reduce the cost, to put the money in our staff's pockets and allow them to choose to go to another provider. But we never give them that option. They don't have the money in their pockets to do any of it. And so consequently, again, I asked for that information over 2 weeks ago for the data, the ROI on that for our employees. I never got it back. I think it's important. And then the last part is the vitality piece. I don't understand why we're paying more money for a program that we already have vitality. Isn't that going to bring that to the awareness of our providers that people are either overweight or they're diabetic? And won't that increase our total cost to the employees? It doesn't make sense that I'm telling them they're overweight, I'm telling them they're diabetic, and then that's going to cause higher rates for our insurance. It doesn't make sense to do any of this. So I'm a no on all 3 of these. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Thank you, Ms. Schatzberg and your team. I have just a few points as a devil's advocate. I feel like there's a monopolization in this insurance industry. This contract is so very vast. The services include everything, and I will agree with Member Rendon with inclusion of 402 and 403. 403 and 404, Gardner and the entire insurance plan. Aon seems to win. I wonder if we have made, if they are involved with putting this whole plan together so that they will. This is just, to me, for 20 years we've been dealing with Aon. It's a shame that Gallagher, another one, can't even match. So, the monopolization is a concern for me. Secondly, when you have a monopoly, and this is from the old history teaching days, what happens is you exclude the possibility of competitive bids. Say it is on the Lanton, I think, is the surgeons, and the Gardner is the doctors, and if you don't have more competition, the employees might not have the best options and the best price point. So, again, the word monopolizing is very true in this case. And last, I have to ask a question, and Ms. Schatzberg, with due respect, did Aon in any way assist in writing, editing, preparing, and or coordinate this particular RFP? And I actually should say the others too, but let's go with this one. Were they involved?
No, ma'am. This is the RF. Sorry, my chair keeps sinking, so if I think I'll stand back up. Sorry about that. The RFP that we utilized this time was pretty much the same RFP we utilized in 2020, which would have been very similar ones that we've gathered from my colleagues across the state. We all kind of share information. So no, ma'am. And as questions came in from the RFP, what's that? Oh, the procurement department, excuse me, questions wouldn't have come into me, they would come into the procurement department. So, no, I provided the information to procurement, they then posted it.
So what I'm going to say in support or not support with this particular item and following through with 403 and following through with 404, I believe in the committee that we have chosen. I've worked with Ms. Heaton, I've worked with you, in a short while, Mr. Lewis. I know where your heart and your head is, and I know that you care for the well-being of all of our employees, and I know that to be true, and Daniel Shotwell. And I also know that this is a whole new game for us, self-insured. So with this, I'm going to say, with my trust in the staff that are on this committee, we will learn from this. We have to make sure that we have evaluatory tools to guide us when we need to make tweaks and adjustments as per our employees' responses and our board, of course, responses. I don't have the experience as you all do in insurance, nor will I think ever have that much experience, because it's very complex and it's getting much more complex as we go through year to year. So my reply and my vote will be to say yes to this, and then there'll be some, asks on my part, and I may mention that on the 402, 403, 404. So, and again, committee members, I'm trusting. This is speaking from as an individual board member. I'm trusting each of you to watch out, take good care of our employees, make it as competitive as you can so their costs are as low as possible in an environment that is consumed with higher costs in every dimension known to mankind. So that will be, I conclude that I support this.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Rendon?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make sure that we're all aware here on 404 that the health insurance proposal has no contract attached. This staff and superintendent, you're asking me to approve a $267 million contract without ever seeing it. I don't find that to be responsible for me to do that. I asked for the contract 2 weeks ago to be provided to the board. We did not receive it. I did a search to look for it. The other thing is, I want to remind.
Just for 1 second, Ms. Ryan, I don't want to interrupt you. If we could wait till
Okay.
the comments for that item, because we have to vote on these separately.
Well, but again, the management company is responsible for coordinating these other two pieces. That's part of the self-insurance. And I find like this has got to be a team effort. This is self-insurance.
I understand. You're referring to item 404, which is not up for a vote yet. That's my only point. Just if we could just.
And I'll address that when we get to 404.
I think it's an important point. You need to address it, but when the item comes up for a vote.
Okay, thank you, Member Rendon. And I just have a couple comments. Thank you to everybody, Jamie, Tracy Schatzberg, everybody who's working on this. I mean, I think that probably the most important thing is I'm hearing frustration from my fellow board members. This is something definitely that we should look and request a workshop and look at this from like top down all the way through how the committee's chosen, what happens, the timeline, what it looks like in the past. When you have somebody who's had the same contract for over 20 years, you want to make sure that, that comparing it to other organizations and just being able to make sure that, I know it's a transparent process, but I think there's enough concern here that we should have a workshop, and that way we can really look into it. I am going to support this item tonight, but I do think we need to have a workshop and really look at all of these items. I mean, insurance and health care benefits and just all of this is so important. I can say for me, I am on the health insurance here. In the past, I've been self-employed, so I've had lots of different health insurance. At one time, I even had Cobra at one time, and it cost me more than my own mortgage. The cost of insurance is so expensive. It doesn't matter who you are, where you work for. It doesn't matter. I see my husband who's got great insurance, even that, the cost of insurance overall. There's so many people who don't retire or can't retire because of the cost of insurance. And I can speak for myself. A couple years ago, I had a major medical issue. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I can't imagine if I did not have health insurance, I'd probably have sold my house and everything else. So, I mean, insurance is really, really expensive. I know we're doing the best that we can. We're trying to find the best plans we have, the best health employee benefits. When you do see somebody who's doing that for 20 years, does that mean they're providing such a great service and that's why they continue to receive it? Or is there questions? Can we look for different ones, compare ourselves to other districts, also compare ourselves nationally? So I think a workshop would be great, but I am going to support this item today. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Okay, now please vote when your lights appear. Okay, and it passes with myself, Member Washington, and Member Gray supporting it, and then Member Rendon and Member Vaughn not supporting it. Thank you. We'll go on to the next item, which is 402, request for employee benefits and risk management consulting services. No, I'm sorry, it's the next one. We just did that one. 403, agreement with Garner Health. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And what I'm going to do is highlight 403 and 404 together, and then we can go back and vote on each of those individually. But the next two health insurance items before you this evening are especially important as they reflect our district's continued investment in the health and well-being of our employees. In light of the current economic climate and the financial pressures many are experiencing due to rising inflation and increased cost of living, our Health Insurance Committee has worked diligently to develop thoughtful recommendations for your consideration. With the goal of avoiding any increase to employee premium costs in 2027, the recommendations being presented tonight are designed to support healthier outcomes for our employees, guide them towards high-quality providers, and help offset certain out-of-pocket healthcare expenses while reducing the projected increase in healthcare costs. In addition, you will hear about an optional fourth plan that offers reduced payroll deduction costs for employees with dependents. So at this time, I'm going to have Dr. Schatzberg take a few minutes to walk through the recommendations before you this evening, after which we'll welcome any questions and comments on 403 or 404.
All right, Pablo, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you tonight regarding 2027's health benefits package. I have a presentation that we're going to be providing. HCPS prioritizes employees' health and wellness and recognizes the large role that it plays in our total compensation package. Before diving into the recommendations to you, let's take just a moment. You see the graph before you to talk about the employees in our plan. If you look at our employees, 92% of them are enrolled in employee-only coverage, while 8% are enrolled in employees with dependents. When looking at total membership of 22,000, which includes retirees and people on COBRA and such, 86% of plan members are employee-only, while 10% are for children and 5% are spouses. So what we've done here data-wise is to kind of remind you that we have 3 health insurance plans. We have an HMO, a high PPO, and a low PPO. The majority of our employees, as you can see, 13,051, have chosen the low PPO plan, as this plan has the employee-only $0 premium cost, Other employees choose to buy up, however, on the high PPO and the HMO so that they have less costs when they seek care. Historically, given our district's contribution, the free plan and the costs that we place into it, the district covers approximately 91% of every health dollar spent. So it's pretty impressive. It does make for a heavy lift for our employees, but again, we value their health and wellness. I will say, in looking at other surrounding districts, our contribution at 91% is higher than most. As our health insurance committee works together on a monthly basis, we recognize the importance of providing high quality care to our employees. We know that our employees on average work 40 hours a week and oftentimes a lot more. And when they leave here, they're not necessarily going home and throwing their feet up on the couch. They're going home and they're taking care of their kids, their husbands, their grandparents, their parents, and many of them are sandwich generations where they're taking care of both kids and parents. So there are a lot of stresses on them. Some have second and third jobs. So as the insurance committee comes together, we look at what kind of things can we have in place to support employees where they are. So this evening we're going to be talking about some of those things. We continue to set insurance rates through our health insurance committee. It's important to know health insurance in the nation is trending at about 8 to 10% every year. So we recognize that that's what the trend is. So when the committee comes together and we look at our data and we look at innovative programs, we say to ourselves, what can we do? What programs can we put in place to try to help our employees be healthy so that that trend, instead of 8 to 10%, comes down? Now, to think that it's going to be zero, I think is not realistic, but we want to try to slow it where we can. So I like to think of you know, y'all have heard me talk in the past about renting versus owning, that when you're self-funded, it's like owning the house. So when we're talking about when you're dealing with high electric bills, what can we do to get our electric bills down? Well, we do things like turn up the thermostat, or we buy fans, or we buy solar panels. We put money out because in the long run, we lower our electric bills. So as our committee comes together, we look to see what kind of things can we put in place, what are free things, and what things do we sometimes purchase, knowing that in the long run it is going to help control our trend. So we're going to move into the next slide, which looks at the levers that we put into place for 2026, trying to, again, take that 10% trend and bring it down some. You can see that Lantern, you've heard, I hope, a lot about. That's our bundled surgery. Our employees love it. We've saved over $500,000 so far. Again, that's the things that begins to impact trend. Due to those rates, our employees are getting free support. Again, we are saving. You can see Prudent RX is a program that we also put in place this year, where our employees who are on specialty drug costs. Now, those drugs cost thousands of dollars per month, and they are life-changing. These are drugs that help people who might be home and not able to work to actually come to work. So what this specialty Prudent RX program does is it allows our employees zero cost for their specialty medication while it saves us money. And we have, in the first quarter, saved over $1 million implementing Prudent RX. We see the vitality. You all have been hearing us talk for years about our vitality, and we know our data support that healthy employees have less claims, and we see that their health risk improvement is happening year over year as we monitor them. I really want to take a minute to point out CVS and the ability for our employees on our Aetna plan to receive virtual care 24 hours a day, and they have the option of going into a walk-in clinic at a CVS Minute Clinic across the country, not just across the county. Before having these types of free options, our employees who are busy taking care of their families or working other jobs may have been able to do medical care on a weekend and felt that ER was the only place for them to go. So this is a great option to help them save because they are having no copay and they're hopefully staying out of the ER unless they need to be there. We're going to continue to implement these programs along the way. We did get some data in today that I wanted to, we got it from Aetna regarding our quarter one utilization in 2025 versus our quarter one utilization in 26, because we were curious, are we seeing more people, less people using the doctors? In the first quarter of 2025, 69.6% of members had at least one claim, 69.6%. That was last year. This year, in the same time, it was 69.2. So very close. We are continuing to see our employees seek medical care. Pablo, let's Bring it home. All right, so now we are talking about some of the things that you already mentioned in the 2027 year. Again, we know that trend is 8 to 10%. We are also looking at our trends, and then we recognize from our switch from fully insured to self-funded, we are having some catch-up to do because, as I showed you all when we met in our prior meetings, when we were fully insured, we had rates where we were actually having premiums that were cost less than what the claims were. So we're having to kind of make up for that now that we are paying for our own claims. And it's good that we did that because, as we'll talk about, had we not, we would be spending a lot more. Well, I'll just say, if we were fully insured, we'd be spending probably about $34 million more in 27. So our health insurance committee has worked closely with our consultant to look at those cost containment strategies. They bring us every year a list of strategies, and we as a committee go through and we look at, what if we pull this lever? What if we pull this lever? What will the savings be? How much disruption will it be for our employees? And trying to have a balance, because we need our employees happy and going to the doctors, but we also have to be able to afford it. So what we've done, and with Aon's help, they've brought us a variety of levers to pull. If we were to do nothing, then the recommendation for the employer only, not employee, actually we are recommending no increase to employee premiums in 2027, which you haven't heard me say in a long time. So we are looking at needing possibly a 24% increase to cover claims. We're going to put these levers into place and hopefully reduce it to 18.4%, which is about a $15 million reduction. It's not to say that we're spending $15 million more than we're spending now. We're trying to, again, control that increase. So let's start with Garner. We're really excited about Garner. As it sits on top of the Aetna network, it is projected to save $3.3 million in claims. So what's really cool about Garner is it for employees that are on Aetna's network. Let's say they need to have visit an ENT. They would go into the Garner app. They would say what kind of doctor they're looking for. They would put the zip code. Then Garner would use its proprietary programs that it has to identify the most effective and cost-effective and better with not having, not side effects. Repeat visits, and what was the word? Poor outcomes, all those great things. So it helps them to do better. We send them to the most efficient physicians. So what would happen? You identify the doctors that you want to see while you're in the app. You say, I'm going to go see Dr. Washington. Then you go, you make your appointment, and you pay your copay. And when Garner sees that you have gone and utilized that doctor, they give you back your copay. Okay? So the same thing would happen with MRIs and x-rays. So what we're trying to do is get our employees to get online, to do their research, and go to the most effective place. We're used to, because of our great plans we've had for so long, is we don't really shop around. And so we want to start training our employees to have to go and get the best care. So Garner will help with that. It is 100% optional. So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it, but it's a good way to save money. We are hoping 30% of our employees will give it a shot in 27. If we do, then we would expect to see over $3 million in savings. We will work to get a lot more than 30% doing that. Okay. Aetna, the Aetna Personal Health Solutions. This is a digital solution for musculoskeletal, smoking cessation, weight loss, all kinds of different things where employees can get digital support. And they do not have to do brick and mortar. As we've talked about, it's difficult for many of our employees to be able to do their job, work with their, help with their family, and then still find time to go to the doctor. So this digital solution will provide them in-the-moment care. We will only be charged if an employee meets their measurable goal. So again, we're looking for a savings on that we would be paying through claims. The next thing I'd like to talk about is not a projected savings, but it does help our employees. We heard our employees, what they've said, and we are recommending a reduction in our copays on every plan. We recommend that the primary care physician copay is reduced $5 and the specialty is reduced $10. So we think that we should see some folks be happy about that. We would like to sunset the opt-out credit. for employees who have health care options elsewhere. This is projected to save us about $3 million that we could then utilize to reinvest the funds into additional strategies that benefit more employees. It will promote health and wellness and reduce overall costs. Many of our employees who are in that, and these could be people that are retirees and on TRICARE, they might be on a spouse's plan, they might they might be on their parents' plan for young folks that we're hiring. Many of them have been utilizing their credit on an FSA. However, the IRS does not allow an individual to have both an FSA and an HSA. So we've been having more and more employees reach out who had opted out with an FSA, realizing they're not allowed because of the IRS regulations to have that. So that should help them be able to take advantage of their FSA on their current insurance. The employees will still be able to participate in our Vitality, and if you participate in Vitality and meet your goals, you can earn up to $300 a year. So, almost done. I feel your excitement. Come on now. Woo, woo. All right. For 2027, we'd like to narrow the network on our low PPO plan and just tighten it up a little bit. This is just for that particular plan. That is projected to save $2.7 million less in claims. In looking at whether that was a good decision, we recognized that 92% of our employees are already utilizing that narrower network, so we're not expecting a lot of noise with that. Finally, we're doing something really outside of the box to see how this goes. Because we continue to have an employee-only plan and the financial costs that places on the district, it allows us less ability to give money towards dependents, and that often makes an employee with dependent costs very high. So our insurance committee and benefit consultant tried to think outside the box to provide an option that would provide smaller paycheck deductions while not causing any negative impact on the district. So we're going to introduce something called the Value PPO Plan next year that will offer a reduction in paycheck deductions for employees with dependents. So they could save. Let me start with the deductible. It's going to be a little bit higher. They could it will be a $5,000 deductible. However, if they are an employee with family rates and they choose this plan, they will save over $5,000 a year in their premium payments. So we will be doing a lot of training. This will be for some folks, but not for others. We didn't make it a high deductible plan because we wanted to make sure our employees could still get free services through CVS, still participate in Lantern and Garner. And so there you go. We are going to give that one a shot. It's been a lot of years, several years, since I've been able to bring to you a health insurance plan that doesn't carry an increase in premiums, but that also has a reduction in copay costs. So with your approval tonight, we will move forward in our communication. We'll work with our well-being champions who play a big role in everything we do. We have 2 agenda items from here. The first item, 403, is Garner Health, and the second item, 404, is for our 2027 plan design. Thank you for your patience. I know I was a lot longer than you thought I was going to be.
Thank you, Dr. Schatzberg. And let me just, if I could just address the question about the contract. So last time the board approved the contract with Aetna, it was a direct negotiation with Aetna. It was approved. That's why the contract was there last year. This was an RFP. When the RFP process goes through, at the board meeting on May the 5th, at our last board meeting, the terms of the RFP was approved, was on the consent agenda by the board. The terms of the RFP become the details of the contract. It was an 89-page RFP, details included, terms included. That RFP then becomes the contract. Mr. Lewis, did that miss anything there? Okay. So that's the explanation to why there's no contract attached. The contract, which is the terms of the agreement of the RFP, was approved at the last board meeting on May the 5th.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item C403. I have a motion by Member Washington. I have a second by Member Gray. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Okay, so Mr. Porter, since this was presented as 2, can we speak about it as 2? Okay.
The way this would be, you need to vote on them separately, but both items are now on the floor for discussion. So your question about the contract is totally relevant at this point if you want to ask it
Okay.
and get answers.
Although it was part of the RFP, right? There's still an agreement between the district and the Aetna on what they're going to provide and what they're not going to provide. That's going to be signed by the chair. Am I not correct on that? So nothing is signed. There's no obligations by Aetna on anything we're doing. It's just the RFP's approved. That doesn't make any sense. It's $267 million.
The way we've always done it is that their responses on the RFP is their commitment.
So we have no legal commitment for $267 million. I don't understand that.
Well, let me get,
So I get the fact that that's what they committed to by an RFP, but we do RFPs all the time for plumbing and everything else, but we still have a contract with the vendor we're using, and we know that we've come into a legal binding contract of what the person is going to be responsible for. So that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean,
and I would just add that this is not anything that's any different than any other RFP we go through. When we go out for an RFP, which we did for this, the terms of the RFP become the contract. So this is not any different than any other time that we've gone out for RFP where there's not a direct contract that we're looking at. But
many times with Mr. Farkas's operations, we go out for an RFP, you give us the results, but when we utilize that vendor, we then in turn have a contract attached of what the scope of the work is going to be. So, I mean,
and that should have been approved. That was approved at the consent agenda back on May the 5th. All the details, it was an 89-page document that was approved by the board on May 5th. That was the terms of that RFP then become the contract.
So again, that agenda item that came before us was the fact that we went after the RFP. Now this is about the choice that we've chosen for that you're asking us to approve. The board can make their decisions on their own. This board member is not going to approve anything that I don't see binding what they're going to do. But again, I go back to I appreciate Gardner and I understand the thing. And I understand what Aetna is trying to do about directing our employees to go to specific providers that are going to be that they're going to have less return to that same doctor. All of that's great. If we can do it for one plan, I don't understand why we're doing it for another. When we make statements about how we're not having higher premiums for our employees, the fact that we are $63 million more in an overall cost, that is $63 million more that I'm not putting in employees' pockets. So even though they're not paying the premium, they're paying for it. Let's remind us that at the end of the day, that's money that I'm not putting in salaries. That's money I'm not putting in bonuses or other raises. So whether or not they're not paying a premium, that's money I'm taking away that I could be putting into teacher salaries and teach other things. So make no mistake, just because it's not a premium doesn't mean we're not taking it away from employees, because it does. And again, I appreciate Gardner and I appreciate the fact that Aetna's got that type of a plan. I just don't understand, if we can do it for one plan, why we're not doing it for others. I understand that you want to ease our staff into it, but I think our staff gets it that we don't have the money. I think our staff get it that we've got to make different choices in order to have a health care plan so we can put more money into their paychecks. I think our staff, we have very educated staff that are very knowledgeable, and they recognize that. So yeah, I'm still a no, and I do not understand that whole there's never been an RFP that's come to us that we did not have when we then voted on the item itself. We had a contract, and for $267 million, it doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Vaughn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, that presentation, I don't remember seeing that before.
We did it over the computer.
I don't remember seeing it in that way because I would.
The presentation, you're right. You just.
No, so in the future, I would like to have the same presentation beforehand that's going to be presented here tonight, because it left me with a lot of questions that I didn't have an opportunity to ask beforehand, and now we have to vote on this item and I have to have them answered in 5 minutes. So I find it frustrating if there's a presentation that we haven't seen as a board that then is presented with this, because I don't remember us talking about narrowing the network for Aetna. Because I'm confused. Does that mean they're going to have less access to providers now? Because that's how I interpret narrowing the network.
Yes, ma'am. On the low PPO plan, that is what that means. And 92% of our employees are already using a narrow network, so it'll be less of an impact. And I wanted to speak to that so people then choose to buy up on the high PPO and the HMO and spend more for a little bit more flexibility. But I think that what's happening right here is part of what it's like for us in our committee meetings, because people want choice, but we want to be able to save money. And so it's a balance. So when we talk about having a plan, it's figuring out when do we do what.
So my concerns are, as someone who has that plan and has to utilize it quite a lot, there's already such a limited access of providers that narrowing it, to me, makes it feel almost worthless at some point, because it's hard to even find specialists within a 20-mile range within that plan, depending on who you see. So I'm extremely frustrated that for the free plan, our employees are going to have less access to doctors that they need to without doing an upcharge of some sort. So I did not understand that piece of it, and I would have preferred, if I had seen it in this format, to be able to have a discussion about it. The next question I have is, on this committee that we've talked about, other than district staff and cabinet members, who represents our employees on that committee?
Our union representatives, our HCTA, HSCF, HASA, their personnel from those groups, as well as HEAR, the retired group. So we have.
So it's there's 3 compared to the 10 or 12 that are represented from the district?
There's 4, and I would say it's never, though, been one where they're saying something that we're arguing with. We tend to spend a lot of time building consensus with everybody around the table. So
how did HCTA, who represents the most amount of employees, vote on this item specific, or the next item, the health plan?
And we don't vote on these. We have consensus and we make recommendations. And so when I asked the group where we were moving, if there was any concerns with moving this item ahead to the board, I was told no one said they had any concerns, and no one sat passively. Everybody said we have no concerns with moving forward with this recommendation.
So you would say that HCTA...
Rob Crete did indicate that they wanted to abstain from voting, and he's here. He might be able to talk better to it, because I think knowing that we don't have all the information from the state yet regarding budget, so they were hesitant to commit.
But you just said there wasn't a vote. So did he abstain from a vote that doesn't happen?
There was no vote.
He was saying they weren't giving the input.
Okay. So the next question that I have is from the network of providers for Garner that we're going to hope to push our employees towards so there can be a cost savings. You know, you said you really want to make sure that our employees are aware of this. What's the plan? Because I find that we have so many things that we do offer that employees aren't taking advantage of and they don't know about. And I see things all the time for like FRS, where you go to school sites and we educate our employees about our retirement and their options. Are we going to do something similar like this going forward? Because I see zero attempt to get the communication out so that people really can digest it. And maybe it's there, but I'm on the plan and I don't get it. So I would like that done at a larger scale. So is there a plan for that?
Absolutely. Upon you guys passing, then we will talk about what our communication plan is going to look like. We begin our annual enrollment planning. So we'll talk about the different meetings that we have, making sure that information is passed out through our Wellbeing Champions. We have trained the trainers at each site. There'll be lots of stuff that happens from here, because you're right, if no one's using it, it's not worth it. I did want to point out on the narrow network, just to remind you, though, that 92% of our employees are already utilizing that narrow network.
Okay, now I know we had talked about this, but I've gotten some emails about it, and I just want to talk about it publicly to be transparent about it. GLPs are not included in this, and a lot of our employees want to utilize that for their health. We talk about health, and we talk about making sure we're keeping our employees healthy and allowing them access to weight loss drugs to keep them in a healthy range, to cut off diabetes. Lots of other things are not covered, and it's really frustrating. You had mentioned somewhat of a number, like a round number, just to include those. Can you explain what that number was?
Yes, and GLP-1s are allowable for diabetic patients. It's not for weight loss, that we don't cover it for that. So in looking at our data in 2025 for just diabetes, we spent $10.9 million on that medication. So if we were to allow it for weight loss, it just is not something, unfortunately, that would be affordable. I'm hoping here in the United States we can begin to do stuff different, but that is something that is just not something that we're able to afford.
And so when we talked about that, and I said, well, how are so many other companies offering this? You were able to explain that those are for-profit companies, a lot of them, and they're able to raise their rates or able to subsidize it somehow where their customer base is paying for that to up it. And us being a public entity that is continually getting less funding and less revenue, that we don't have that opportunity. Is that correct? Okay. I do want to say that I appreciate the hard work that went into trying to keep things the same, especially lowering the copays. As someone who's paid a lot out for copays, especially when we come to specialists, I think that $70 is still a lot, but it's nice to have a reduction of $10. So I appreciate the work that went in that. You know, I still really struggle with such a high deductible. I know that when I had asked about just lowering it for $1,000 for our employees, that could, you know, be a lot for them. You had quoted, I think, $3.2 million.
3.24, yes.
3.24. For me, that's something that I would like to invest in, but I understand if that's not a priority of the rest of the board. But I did want to just say that I, put a lot of effort into figuring out what that would look like, because I think that that's a sticking point for a lot of our employees who are facing an emergency, having such a high deductible that they're going to have to shell out of their pocket. So, I think I'm going to go ahead and vote yes on the Gardner, but I still have some concerns about the health, the actual health plan, because I feel like I didn't get all of the information as far as understanding the narrow network and some other things. So I'm going to probably vote no on that, but I do appreciate all of the hard work that went into this. I know this is a lot of work from all of the committee. I can't imagine how many hours people sit through and digest all of the information, and I know that prices are rising everywhere. And to Member Rendon's point, while I think we have amazing staff who's very educated, they're working so hard, I really don't think they understand the kind of financial pressure that we're facing. And this comes as a bit of a shock to them. So, I hope we do a better job at advocating and getting that information out. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Member Vaughn. And we'll continue with 403 with Member Gray. Yes. Yes, both, yep.
Okay, so thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And I, listening to these remarks, and as you can see, I also recommended, I want to recommend a workshop because of not only the comments that you're hearing, but I would like to, my expectation is to have a full evaluatory type of method for each service, the usage, the amount of claims, the savings. There's so many categories systematically you can organize to do an evaluation on each of those. When we do an evaluation, what happens after that? So then you have to think, well, okay, we can workshop that out and get all the, all those pieces in place. But then what assurance can you all give us, and Ms. Schatzberg, it looks like you're it, that when this board makes the conversation, recommendations, the concern, as you're hearing, what assurances can you give us that we feel this needs to be tweaked, or we feel this recommendation should be done? Because right now we're talking, I don't really like CVS, all kinds of little nuances. Can you assure us that we will be listened to and those tweaks at the end of the calendar year, whatever the timeline might be, will be done?
Yes, ma'am, and what I would love, if y'all are up for it, it would be nice to maybe begin an annual cadence where we come a few months before now, where we come to you every summer and tell you what we're going to be looking at for 27. A few months prior, let's have a workshop where we have the data, we talk about what programs are in place, and you all can let us know, here's what we're hearing and we'd like to see you try this. I think it might be a way to, if we could just get on a regular cadence with that, that's my recommendation. But we hear you and value your opinions, and we will listen.
Well, and that's the answer that I would like to hear, of course. The other subject that I mentioned before with the Aon usage, I will request a full listing of each of these subject matter experts, and they are listed on the 404. How they're chosen, and importantly, what relationship, if any, they have with Aon. because I want to make sure there's a distance, and I have to have that assurance. So that's something I'm going to request, and I could do it with you on the email, but that's, I just want to make sure that we're not having one organization in charge of a lot of these decisions. Last, what have we done with the mental health piece? You know, I'm looking through, I know we have the wellness program, thank you, Dina Marshall, and I see the employee assistance program, maybe that's it, but mental health, what does that fall under?
In the health insurance world, mental health is called behavioral health. So with the Mental Health Parity Act and with our work with Aetna, I'm happy to say that we have no co-pays for our employees to seek mental health counseling, whether it's in person, whether it's virtual. So that is available to them. We also have online, Lyra, and things like that, but also part of the Aetna Health Solutions that we'll be rolling out has a mental health section as well. And mental health is our number nine cost driver.
Well, good to know, because
Cost driver, yeah.
because that's a very important ingredient for our employee wellness. And last, and probably never last, but one other thing, when we do commit to the workshop, the ongoing need for communications is so critical, because we can have all these wonderful programs, and unless we have a dedicated, and Superintendent Van Ayers, I'm going to put this on you, unless you have a dedicated team to communicate all of these services to our employees, how are they going to use them, or how are they going to know about them? And I know we have a newsletter, Vitality Plus. Where's Dina? I see her somewhere out there. And does a very good job, but that's just one form. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I mean, as we look at all the different plans in health insurance, it's complicated, and how we communicate out. We have our open enrollment sessions that I know you've attended as well, where we communicate that to employees, but that's something that we'll take into account and ensure that we communicate it the best we can, because every year we've got little different plan changes, so it's important that we let our employees know. So we'll keep you updated on that.
Okay, and the cost of this in totality necessitates, in my mind, a dedicated communications plan for this. That's my opinion. Okay, I've said enough. I'm going to support what we have, with the idea of the insurances, that things will be changed if need be. Our recommendations count. So thank you again. I'm done.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You utilized the comment that we had. We spent $10.9 million on GLP-1s for our diabetics. How many diabetics are we serving?
That was about 1,400.
Okay, so when I did the math for 10.9 times 19,000, that's $573 for 19,000. So you're telling me that $10.9 million for GLP-1s for, I just want to make sure we do the math here. So, okay, 10.9 divided by how many?
Be about 7,000. It's 10 point.
We have 7,000 diabetics.
No, ma'am. $7,000 per diabetic.
Okay. Again, that cost is outrageous for GLP-1s. So again, I go back to looking at the various types of plans. People can go and pay for that without even going through a plan cheaper than $7,000 a year for GLP-1s. That's what I'm talking about, of us not going out there and giving our employees options. This is not about Aetna. I want to make sure this is very clear. This is about us looking at all types of options. $7,000 for GLP-1s for a diabetic is over the general cost per person. So like, they could just go with a prescription and go find it somewhere else cheaper than what we're paying for it. And I think that's what we've got to start thinking about. What are we paying for what we're getting back? $7,000 is an outrageous amount of money. The other thing is, I want to make it very clear that if I take this $1.7 million for the Garner, which again, I'm all about getting employees to utilize those better benefits. That's not it. But at the end of the day, that's $340 per employee for the 5,000, because the people that are on the free plan aren't going to utilize Garner because we're already reducing their providers. So you're telling me, oh, we're going to use them too?
People will utilize Garner to get their copay back.
Okay. But again, like, is that amount of people, have we even gone relevant to how many copays are they getting back to imagine to what we're paying for 1.75 million?
They can actually get back up to $1,000.
No. What I'm asking is, have we analyzed what Garner is paying to compare to the 1.75 we're paying to utilize Garner?
So
because again, that's 1.75 that's taken away from our employees. So are we analyzing how much they're getting back?
Well, we haven't started it yet, but yes, once we put the money out, the 1.7, the 3.3 we assume is on top of that, so it's not minus 1.7. In talking with different school districts and a couple of universities I've spoken with, they are finding that they are indeed getting the return on investment. That's Aon's job to help monitor that progress, and if it doesn't work, then we stop.
So explain to me why we're not automatically doing that in our plans. Why are we not utilizing those same providers in our plans? Because it is an Aetna product. So Aetna has already identified who those providers are. You said it's on top of Aetna.
It's on top of Aetna's network, but it is not an Aetna product.
So they're not part of Aetna's network?
They look at the physicians that are in Aetna's network, and then they utilize their proprietary program that looks at data, and then they identify the top ones from their network.
So when we're reducing the number of providers in the free plan, is that not to get some of the similar type of providers in that plan?
I think there will be some overlap.
But I'm saying we're still looking at the providers we're putting in that free plan are going to be providers that we're still looking for that same type of return, that we're not looking for return frequent flyers to the doctor. We're be able to get there, get what they need to be able to go back. They're going to be doing a plan and not, so we're still looking at those providers for our free plan, right?
Right.
Okay. So again, why aren't we doing that across the board? Is it just because we don't want to make too many changes?
So it's data analysis. We would need to utilize that, and actually, Garner is going to utilize the networks on the providers on the high, the low, and the HMO. So they will be looking at all across the levels, all three. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and just closing comment. Tracy Schatzberg, when do you think would be a good time to have a workshop? I think obviously we're not going to implement this program until January 2027, right? I mean, to answer, we're moving forward with that. If the vote goes through today, we'll be moving forward with that in January. What would you recommend? Like one in the fall to look at the committee, how that's happened, and then one in the summer so we can analyze where our data is 6 months later?
So yeah, I mean, I'm at the will of whatever you all want to do.
Be fine. We can definitely.
I mean, just thinking about that. That way we can have one prior, beforehand to see where we are, and then moving forward afterwards.
Thank you
okay.
for that. So we'll
just
analyze.
really looking at that at the timeline, because I don't think anybody who has thoughts or ideas coming in, I don't think we're going to move anyone. But I think this is a really healthy discussion to talk about this, because I do think, as I said, health insurance. Most people, when they talk about retiring, or I have some friends right now who are taking a leave of absence and traveling and their biggest thing is, how do I get insurance? What am I going to do for insurance? I don't even want to go 3 months without insurance, because if something happens, and then just the overall cost when you go to a doctor, the overall cost of insurance, it's a huge national problem. It's a huge national problem. So, as I said, I don't think we're going to solve it, but I appreciate everybody's input, and I think doing a couple workshops will be very helpful. Okay, board members, please vote when your lights appear, and we're voting on 403.
403 only.
Yes, 403 right now. We're voting on 403, and then we'll go to 404 next, and then we'll go to public comment. Okay, and it passes with myself, Member Washington, Member Graham, Member Vaughn supporting it, and Member Rendon dissenting on that. Next one is 404, health insurance on 2027. Superintendent Ayers, you've already highlighted this item. So I need a motion, a second, to approve item C 404. I have a motion by Member but that's not me, but that's so weird. Okay, no.
You should not be making.
No, I know, it just happened, it was something, okay, I don't know how that happened. Member Washington, and then a second by Member Gray, Member Renda, Member Gray, Member Vaughn, and I pulled it. Anybody else want to comment on this right now? Okay, if you can clear the board, Pablo? Okay, anybody comments? Okay, please vote when your lights appear. This is 404 we're voting on right now. And it passes with 3 votes. Member Combs, Member Washington, Member Gray supporting it, and dissenting it is Member Rendon and Member Vaughn. Okay, we will now move to employee input. Okay, and thank you, Rob, for staying, Mr. Crete. We will now take employee input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it is sometimes difficult for employees and students of our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There are many ways for employees and students to make their voices heard, including through union representative, emails, phone calls, one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board wants to hear from you. With this section of our agenda, we're creating another avenue for employees and students to speak to the board. We're setting aside 30 minutes for employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on their mind. This is not intended for a discussion about specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and I think we just have one speaker tonight, and that's Mr. Crete.
Yeah, it's Rob.
You.
Hey, happy to be here again. And first of all, I'd like to say that I'm willing to sign an intent to earn for the young man that wants an anthropology teacher, right? I'm going to get my Indiana Jones hat out, and I think I'm ready to do all that because that was the best speaker of the night. I do want to speak a little bit about health insurance and our stance with it, or with HCTA. We are one member of a nine group committee that we talk about with health insurance. This is probably the most difficult thing that I've had to do and work on in the years that I've been doing this job as a union president. It's not as simple as looking at the dollar amount. It's looking at what people need, and we're also in a state where the funding is not quite there to do all of the things that we would all agree we want to do. So when we went from full insurance to self-insurance, I'm getting a full education right now. You know, you guys are talking about doing a workshop. It's going to take a full master's degree to really understand what's going on with insurance. And the things that I learn every step that I get, that we take as a committee, it's really sad out there that really what insurance is, health insurance in America is not about making healthy people, it's about making money. And it was clear to us that Humana and some of the other companies were not making money or making enough money to their liking that led us to the route that we're at. Now, when we talk about, and I know that Tracy does a good job of deferring to HCTA and saying, because we represent the most number of employees, even though we are one voting member of said committee, because we're really trying to figure out what is best and what does everyone want. And what everybody wants is a livable wage and health insurance that they could readily go use. And frankly, we're at a point now where we have to make tough choices. Everyone can't have all of that. So we know that in contract right now, we have a free or no cost to the employee insurance. I'm not willing to give that up. Although we've talked about it in a committee, what that would look like. What would it look like if an employee had to give $50 a paycheck or $100 a paycheck? How much would that really drive down that $60 whatever million cost is? And frankly, it's not enough to move me, certainly not my organization, and quite frankly, the rest of the committee. It didn't seem like something that was worth really doing right now. We understand we have to continue to make tough choices, and narrowing that network seems to be the right way to do it, because we could still keep a no cost to the employee plan, but look at really what can we do to kind of make it so they can get a couple of dollars back, and that's what that plan would be. I could still use all these doctors, at least I'm going to get my co-pays back, because people are struggling out there. And, 50th in the nation in teacher pay, it's going to be a real tough negotiation of what we have to do. And Member Rendon really mentioned, that's $63 million. And she's like, and I know she wants to put that in the pockets of teachers, but I don't have authority from the teachers, I would say, the authority of the employees right now to make that move, to say, hey, we're going to get you the best insurance, but you're not going to get a raise, or get you a raise, or get you the best insurance. So robbing Peter to pay Paul is something that I am struggling with. We are, as an organization, my team is looking at every possible thing that we could do. We sent our executive director to St. Johns County to take a look at how they operate with their committee. We're looking at what's going on with Orange County with their insurance destruction, implosion, whatever that is. We want to make sure that we don't step in it like others have done. So it's really, we're in a precarious position, but I want to say that I believe in the committee. I want to believe that in terms of us looking under the rocks that we have. And if you guys see things that we're not seeing, bring it to me. And if you want to have a conversation with me about what I see in that committee, I will absolutely share that with you. I know that Aon does a good job of bringing us monthly reports. I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't see those reports about how that money is being spent and what insurance is and how much doctors cost when you go for a GLP-1 for a doctor. And it's way different if I can go to Costco to get it. And if this board was willing to say, hey, well, if you want it for weight loss, maybe you should go to Costco to get, and I don't know what it costs there. Is it right on the shelf? I don't even know. But $7,000 does seem ridiculous. But again, these are doctor costs to diagnose and kind of maintain. And then with the drugs and all those things, it gets really, really crazy quickly. I'm really disappointed with health insurance and what it looks like out there. But again, we're going to learn from others and learn together to kind of make the best possible plan. And another thing I promise you is that we'll be surveying the employees of the district to find out really where are their priorities here, because they can't have it all. We can't, and I wish we can, because they deserve it. We all know they deserve a livable wage and the best insurance to bring themselves and their families to a doctor. I really believe in that. And everybody knows that when we're in these committee meetings. So I just want you to show some grace and patience with us, but feel free to ask us all the hard questions because we want to find out the answers as well. So thank you guys.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Any other public comment? Okay, we'll continue on with 602 with the pre-K through 8th field trips from millage referendum funds. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An exciting agenda item here. This is something you probably heard me talk about Monday morning in front of all the principals, our plan for our field trips using our millage referendum dollars we just received. So Hillsborough County voters, of course, approved the 4-year 1 mil ad valorem tax to strengthen educational excellence, enhance student learning, and enrich academic programming. This item supports field trips for every grade level, pre-K through grade 8, providing students with hands-on experiences through Tampa Bay's resources. And Mr. Brady's worked extensively along with Ms. Garcia on this plan, something we're very excited. As we know, our millage referendum, 92% goes to our salaries of our employees, 8% to academic enhancements, and one of those you were very clear on field trip, having hands-on learning experience for pre-K through 8th. We know it, we do it for a long time. We're known for our BizTown, our Finance Park, and our Nature's Classroom. Now to expand that to other resources in Tampa Bay, we're very excited about it. Mr. Brady and Ms. Garcia and his team have worked extremely hard, and that's the item tonight, 602, for field trips pre-K to 8 starting next school year.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item C602. I have a motion by Member Vaughn. I have a second by Member Rendon. Member Vaughn and I pulled this item. Member Vaughn, you can go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really just pulled this to highlight it because we spent a lot of time talking about agenda items that, we're frustrated with or we have a lot of questions. I think this is fantastic. I often think about the staggering percentage of our kids who live below the poverty level, that, learning that statistic that 40% of our kids live below that level, and being in the classroom firsthand, I know how sometimes there's such little access to getting outside of their community or even coming to some of these places. And I think being able to make sure that every grade band we're giving an opportunity to go to the art museum or Mosey or the aquarium. I think a lot of us take for granted that it's easy to take your children there, but it's not for everybody. So I think making sure that at every grade level our kids have access to this is really great. And I just wanted to highlight it and say thank you for prioritizing this and making sure our kids are going to experience this. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Rendon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just really quickly, again, I piggyback off of Member Vaughn. I also want to make sure that publicly, I want to make sure that people understand that 91% of our referendum is going directly to staff. And this is the leftover of unanticipated dollars that we can put directly towards student education that aligns directly with the standards for that current year. So I think it's important to recognize to the public that this is direct standards for the educational benefit of each of our students through that educational year, but 91% of this referendum is still going to our staff.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Gray?
Yeah, and thank you, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and thank you, Member Vaughn, for highlighting this. You know, what happens when a child takes the field trip and goes kinesthetically, tries things out with their hands, their eyes, they feel it. Many times, and Mr. Brady, you know this, I'm a big field trip person in my teaching career, it changes the trajectory of their lives. And Nature's Classroom, you know, is emblematic, but there's so many places that children, they never even get out of Tampa to see things. And thank you, Ms. Garcia, for, you know, electrifying this situation with, or plural situations, letting these kids really have a variety. So, you know, as a former teacher, field trips to me are quite essential. I'm glad we did that. You know, it's good that we brought this up again. So anyway, the communication piece too. We've got to communicate that to the parents. Mr. Brady, you want to say anything, or Ms. Garcia? I mean, we're letting you off the hook if you don't say anything.
No. We're excited about it too. We echo everything that you're saying. Obviously, we've talked to communications about. It's going to be really exciting to see all the students out there. As they mentioned, the zoo, the aquarium. I know they're in Tampa, and that's another part of it. You know, we did manage to keep all of these field trip opportunities in the city of Tampa, which is great. Obviously, the money coming back into the community, so we're excited about it. The team, they've done a tremendous job. Sarah and her team have just done an incredible job.
And I would add to that, remember, Board, these are opportunities that students within Hillsborough County Public Schools are receiving. So anywhere else, whether charter school, private school, I mean, they're not getting those opportunities. So that $1 million referendum, those are field trips that students in our school district are going to receive and nowhere else for pre-K to 8th. I want to give shout out to how well our team works, and I want to give a shout out also to Tracy Brown and Gary Brady, their collaboration. So starting next year as well, remember, we do move to the full day VPK. So the state pays for half the day. Our millage will pay that other half a day, and then the collaboration there, Ms. Brown, Mr. Brady, our VPK students, about 1,700 of them will get a field trip as well. Those full day students get a field trip. So exciting things that are happening next year, and proud of the team and their work.
Well, I didn't realize that with the VPK, so thanks for bringing that out, and thanks, Ms. Brown, for also including that piece. So great job, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Kind of hoarse a little bit, but I just want to thank you, Superintendent, because that's great. You know, people don't realize sometimes kids never get a chance to come out their neighborhood. I remember the time when I first opened Milton High School. You may not believe it. There's some kids that never been to Ybor City, 7th Avenue. Some kids never had the opportunity to go. So this is a great opportunity for students to get out and see the other parts of Tampa. And thank y'all so much. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's one of the reasons I pulled it is, you know, the millage is so important. Just the other day, I had a teacher tell me that him and his wife are thinking about, they're both teachers, they're thinking about getting another car, and they need a new car, and the millage was a big factor. Knowing that they could have a millage meant that they could afford another car payment. And he asked me, like, what's the chances? Do you think it's going to continue? I said, well, if you notice, we're funded 50th in the nation right now with such a high inflation rate. So I hope that the voters will continue prioritizing the millage. This is just 1.3% of the millage is going to this. The rest is going to salaries and also other things like full VPK. But it's really so important for students to have experiences, for every year to be able to go to the museum, the aquarium. I think a lot of people take it for granted that maybe they get their children to go places. Some children have never had that experience, and it can really open their eyes up and really open the experience. And the other thing I had is how it's important that we're supporting our local businesses. You know, I think with the economy the way it is, you know, I'm sure like Zoo Tampa and all these places, the Glacier Museum, to know not only that exposure, but also allows other families, because they have like Tuesdays, they have free days, there's other days that are available. It kind of ignites a family to maybe go there further, and it's a real connection with our local businesses. I mean, all of them, like BizTown, Zoo Tampa, Mosey, Muma, Nature's Classroom, the courthouse, the aquarium, all of that. I think it's really important for our students to have that experience and to know that every child in Hillsborough County Public Schools has at least one day of year that they can go on a field trip. I think is amazing, and it talks really about the importance of this millage and how we have to continue looking forward for that and make sure that next time it also is supported by this board and this community. Thank you. Seeing no further comment, please vote while your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Okay, we will now go to our last item of tonight. 7:15, request for proposal for real estate services. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So board members, on November 17th, 2025, Procurement Services, working in collaboration with Growth Management, issued a competitive solicitation for real estate services from qualified firms to help the district identify and lease facilities that support instructional and operational needs. Awarding multiple vendors provides flexibility and access to specialized market expertise as the district needs continue to evolve. These services will help ensure cost-effective site selection and lease negotiations that maximize the district's resources and support the district's long-range planning efforts and ability to respond to current and future growth, and that is 7:15.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion, a second to approve item C, 7:15. I have a motion by Member Washington, a second by Member Rendon. Okay, Member Gray and I pull this item. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. And interestingly enough, Mr. Farkas, I was reviewing the workshop we had in 2025 on growth management, and it seems to me, in the spirit of workshops, with the amount of the population variance, the closed schools, or low enrollment, hopefully not Mr. Lewis, but perhaps so. Conversion to affordable housing, some of our buildings, not to mention disposing of real property. Those are subject matters that affect us directly. And I would like to see a workshop done in 2026 to reflect this. And Superintendent Van Ayers, what do you think about that? Put Chris Farkas to work?
Let's do it. Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that set up. We'll work with the board members on dates on a workshop.
Okay. Mr. Farkas, did you want to reply?
I just want to say we already have the July 21st board meeting. It's going to talk about workforce housing, but I definitely think that as we've learned this year from the closings and the conversations we had, I think that's a good conversation for us to have as a group with the board and growth management. So I think it's a great idea.
Okay, well, I'll put it together and see what the board thinks. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate that, Member Gray. I just wanted to clarify, to do a workshop, a board member puts in a request and other board members vote on it, right? So while you're willing to do this, it first has to be voted on by members and go through the process. Because there's a lot I want that do not get approved, and I just want to make sure there's equity in that. So thank you, Member Gray, for highlighting that you're going to put that in. I just wanted to clarify that that wasn't done. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Member Rendon?
I do think it's something that we do need to look at as far as the calendar goes, because we have reduced, although the board in a retreat asked for the increase in the number of workshops, we've actually reduced them for the year, where we only have 8 total, and 4 of them were meant for policies in the afternoon. So if we continue to ask for workshops, these are going to be pushed back into 27. And so I think it's important for us to look at, the board had already made that request back in the fall, and yet the calendar came out where it reduced it. So somewhere between staff and the board, there has to be a consensus of how many workshops we're going to have. Because I don't disagree. I think we absolutely need to be more educated on insurance. I think we have to bring outside people in to discuss it. I think we absolutely should understand about how we want to move forward on our growth management. But the way the district calendar came out, it actually reduced the numbers. So that limits the number of workshops we can have moving forward. So you guys may want to revisit that calendar for that as well. And then I just want to clarify, when we look at the cost, you're putting this on here for $500,000 as a max.
Yes, ma'am, that's exactly right.
Okay. And then each individual contract that you put together, you're going to bring before the board.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay.
Or it will be part of a board item, meaning like if we
Correct.
do a sale or something that you voted on, the cost of that will be within that item. But yes,
Correct.
The board will vote on all of it.
But we're giving you permission to recognize that as you're negotiating a deal, there's a max that you can negotiate until we approve.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. Just want to publicly make sure we have that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I pulled this item because I think since the first year that I've been here, I think it was year 2, when I saw everything that was happening with the movement and the schools and the buildings and the leases. I think it's like I first got here, it was like first few weeks, and all of a sudden we had to name ROSAC, something, whatever it was. Yes, a surplus, which I always wondered how that happened so quickly when I first got on the board. So I think this is really important. I've been asking for that, for multiple years, and I'm really glad that we're finally using this. You do such an excellent job, Mr. Farkas. You are amazing. You and your team are truly amazing with your operations. It is true. The operations team it is amazing. It's such a difficult job, and I think like when you go, every school, every property, what's going on. We know how important it is when someone goes to a school to make sure it looks good, that it's functional, that the AC is working. People really take big pride into their schools. When you have these new principals coming in, one of the first things they want to do is make sure there's a welcoming environment at the front, the marquee looks great, that you walk into a great office, that the cafeteria is taken care of. So I think there's so many elements of that, and so I appreciate that. But looking at the larger scale of leasing, looking at the parking garage here, all the different land that we have, and we've talked about leasing and long-term leasing and what that looks like, and affordable housing. I think it's really great that we finally have somebody who's in that business to work on that, to manage all of this. It's very, very, very important that we're able to manage that and look at that and have somebody from the outside looking at that as we improve it piece by piece. But that is a really important financial part of our jobs that we have to look at, and we have to look at as areas reduce, as schools get reduced more and more, and making sure that we are being really, really fiscally responsible when it comes to the operations of this district. So thank you for bringing this. I really appreciate it. So board members, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We will now move on to superintendent comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My comments will be pretty brief here this evening, but we're going to start with what I believe was probably one of our best graduation seasons to date. Like I mentioned at the Leadership Institute, just when you see the pride and the smiles and the family, the culture that's created of our schools, and the pride that those graduates had as they walked across the stage was nothing like I'd ever seen. So I just want to first off thank the board. You guys were amazing in the conferring of the diplomas. The noise we heard in the fairgrounds during every single one of them, you could feel the excitement. And like I mentioned at the Leadership Institute, when you walk outside, I got told principals about the impact they make. When you walk outside in the parking lot, when those graduates are meeting up with their family members, that's when you realize all the great work that our school district does and the pride we take in getting our students across the stage. And it takes a whole team of people to do that. But it definitely was one of our best graduation seasons to date by far. And it all starts with the great students that we have in Hillsborough County. So we had over 14,000 high school seniors that walked across the stage. And it was just 3 days ago we finished at Brandon at 3 o'clock. So it was just 3 days ago we finished to receive their hard-earned diploma. School board members and cabinet members joined with school staff, students, and their families to celebrate it, of course, at the fairgrounds. Want to congratulate all of our graduates. I do want to take a special thanks to all of our teams who work so hard to make those graduations happen. And I know you saw them all, our security team, our safety team, and the red polos that were there every single in between graduations, all throughout. Our communications team that were producing the videos, pictures, working every single graduation, and of course, Jennifer Sperano. So Jennifer, if you're listening, thank you for a great season, and we appreciate you and the entire team and the work that goes in. And as you look across graduations that happen, you watch things that happen in other states and graduations, you realize what a great job we do in graduating students and putting on a ceremony that I'd put against any ceremony anywhere else at the fairgrounds that we create. But again, it all starts with our teachers, principals, our school folks that create that climate and culture at their sites of excellence. So I just want to thank them. So how about the impact? you all know we stream all of these. Each year we live stream our graduation ceremonies, so families who can't attend in person can still be a part of this special moment. And this year's reach was incredible. So for the first time, we had viewers in all 50 states and a record-breaking 118 countries worldwide. That's 13 more countries than last year that tuned into the live stream and watched their graduations. For the first time, we reached every continent, which is truly remarkable. And one that I couldn't. Yeah, Antarctica. Yep. Yes, Antarctica as well. Yeah. Yep. Of course you. Check the records. Well, Miss Arja, pull the record and get it sent. So here's what we do now. So as we look at social media, interesting, our graduation content also performed exceptionally well. There was 1.8 million views on Instagram and over 229,000 on Facebook. So as our comms team were out taking pictures, Instagram was the big winner of just the number of people liking and viewing all over our Instagram feed was definitely 1.8 million views, which is incredible, and just it goes to the pride and culture that we create in our schools. And then we finished up on Saturday at 3 o'clock with Mr. Washington, Miss Rendon, and Miss Perez at Brandon. Then we go over to Monday morning. We had our School Leaders Institute, and thank you, board members, for opening up. We had our principals and APs for secondary, so middle and high, were Monday and Tuesday. Tomorrow, we'll meet again at 8 o'clock for our elementary principals and APs, and I know board members, most of you will be able to attend as well. But we started our School Leaders Institute with secondary, now elementary on Wednesday and Thursday. Special thanks to Jeremy and his Gaither team for hosting us over the 4 days. I will tell you, and just to give some props to Shay McCrae, Rick Graves, our chief of schools, that Leadership Institute, some of the feedback I'm getting from some of our principals as you look at the analyzation of data with K-12 Lift, the learning that's happening with our principals and APs, really in our model of instruction, the work that academic services working together with our chief of schools and our deputy superintendent, our cabinet team, we were a part of it for the entire day on Monday. We'll be a part of it for the entire day on Wednesday. Probably one of our best professional developments that we've done in a long time. And it's nice that we do it right as school lets out. I think we had almost very few principals and APs weren't there. It was a packed house, and I expect tomorrow at 8 o'clock to be another packed out for our elementary APs and principals. So Ms. McCrae, Mr. Brady, your entire team, Mr. Graves, thank you. Excellent School Leaders Institute. In the picture you see there, we did honor our principals that had their first graduation. It's always special, so we honored our school principals that had their first ever graduation. We were able to create a picture for them, take the photo, get it made for them for Monday morning, and present that to them, that they can have that lifelong memory of their first ever graduating class. And you can see other pictures there of the learning that's taken place there. And in addition, board members, you saw this, I think all of you were there on Monday morning, but as we look to, we talk about acceleration, these are our results right now, not results, but participation. We will get results on these for AP and IB will come in July. AP and IB in July, and then ACE will get all the results, like always, in August. But if you take a look, we had an increase on our AP exams again, as the 70% pass rate from last year and the number of exams taken. So board members, you were clear 3 or 4 years ago on accelerated opportunities. This staff and these schools and our students continue to push. We had an increase of AP exams again by 1,000. I didn't think that based on last year's numbers, could even do that, but up to 30,000 AP exams that were taken. You can see the 29,000 at Cambridge ACE exams, the dual enrollment, another 800 courses in dual enrollment, and you can see IB had an increase in it as well. So just, again, we'll get those results, but as participation goes, as we look at number of students that are receiving credit, the more opportunities we can provide to them. And Mr. Brady, you and your team continued to excel in providing opportunities for our students. And I continue, as I mentioned, on Monday morning, we're very, very encouraged by some of our fast assessment results that we're starting to see come in. So we'll just, hold tight on those, and we'll, when those results officially come in, we'll be there to celebrate some of the great accomplishments that we've had this year. And finally, my last slide, our summer reading challenge. This summer, we're inviting our students and families to be part of something special as we celebrate America's 250th birthday through our Read White and Blue Summer Reading Challenge. Simple idea with a powerful impact. Every minute a student spends reading helps build strong habits that last a lifetime. Students can log their reading in Beanstack, whether it's books, ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, or on MyOn, and all students in pre-K through 12 are automatically part of the challenge. Along the way, there are exciting incentives, including chances for students to win book backpacks and support their school libraries, as well as an opportunity for schools to earn an author visit from Greg Neri through strong participation. So this challenge runs from May 25th through August 3rd, and I encourage every student to take part, stay engaged, and keep reading all summer long. And once the school year gets off, just like we did over the winter break, we'll go out, and board members, you'll join me in celebrating the winners of our summer reading challenge. But board members, thank you, and just want to say thank you to our entire staff, everyone, all 24,000 in our school district. Anytime you can get through a school year and have a phenomenal school year as we did, it comes to everybody in this organization working together. We've had an outstanding school year and couldn't be prouder. So thank you to everyone for all their support. And I hope everyone has a restful summer as well. And before we know it, we'll be back, welcoming students back, but just thanking them again, all of our families, our employees, for just a phenomenal, tremendous school year. So thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers, for that great update. Now we'll begin with board member comments. We'll start with Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, and we'll start with Pablo, who will have a video. But I wanted to also, before we show the video, which it might be on now, but we have to thank the multilingual language team, Melissa Magado, Christina Fernandez, and Jessica De La Prida. They did an exemplary showing at the Council of Great City Schools, and they highlighted all of the gains our multilingual learners have gotten, and they were on the national stage. Okay, go ahead, Pablo. Are you ready?
Hi. Last week, I was at the Bayer conference for the Council of Great City Schools, and I got a chance to listen to Hillsborough County Public Schools presentation, and it was so amazing. The reason that it was is because how we connect to parents is so essential and important, and the way that they share their process, the community connections, the way they welcome families, and the way that they uplift parents was a moment that everybody in the audience really connected with. I know that people were talking about, wow, how are they doing this? How are they getting parents to show up, to be there, especially in moments and times like we are living today? Meaning that many of them are afraid of showing up. But the fact that you have a family center that supports families and gives them the courage and the support that they need to be courageous and show up was really magnificent.
So thank you to that great team. And
last week I was.
Okay, we can stop. Let's go to the next subject. The graduations. I think I did the math for you, Superintendent Van Ayers. I think I did the math of all the hands you shook, and it was about 14,000 hands from our superintendent. And we thank the board members, all of us, the dedicated teachers, the staff, the principals, and of course the parents, loving parents. What a great success. It's just emblematic, again, making our district stand out as a wonderful, supportive, student-centered district. I also want to make a special thanks, and member, vice chair, and board members. I was wondering if we should get a little gift for Jennifer Sperano, because she really put forth one heck of an effort and organized us. So that's something we can talk about. Also, the next one, the slides, Pablo, Shake Washington, myself, Casey Gunsmart, a former student of mine, and this wonderful group, CEO sponsors, Doublemint Sitting. They were babysitting. There's a method. Oh, and this is Casey showing how to cut a chicken, because I didn't even know how to do that. When you have a big piece of chicken, because he's a restaurateur, Gunsmart. So he's showing how to do this, and I thought it was most curious. I took a little video of it. And then here you can see, and we had a whole variety here. And Shake, what did you think about Shake? We had a good time, didn't we?
We had a great time. The foods were delicious.
Yes, it was. So we wanted to make sure we mentioned the Oak Park principal, Mr. Felder, and the life coach student mentor, Ms. Barnes, and her son, an Oak Park mentor, and former, none other than the Hillsborough County Public School Chamberlain principal, Jake Russell is seen there, and former Oak Park, Principal Moody came also and joined us, and we had the pleasure. Yeah, did I not say? Superintendent Van Ayers came. He popped in. And then we had the Oak Park librarian, Ms. Milcar. So it was just a wonderful event. Next on the, better get going. We want to thank the Hillsborough Bar Association, and I know that Shake and member Brendan were there, and also, I think, we had one other board member. I'm trying to think. But anyway, Nadia Combs, yes. We had those schools that were recognized for their wonderful artwork, Roland Park, Farnell, Plant City High School, Bloomingdale High School, Alonzo High School, and Steinbrenner. And also we have one of the most famed gals, Claire Reynolds, had gotten the Liberty Bell Award, was given by the CEO of she's the CEO of the Crisis Center. But we were very happy to see that she got this well-deserved award. And my time is up. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to echo what the superintendent said to really highlight our graduations. I think this is my 5th year of doing graduations, and this has by far been the smoothest. So thank you to all the hard work of everyone. Again, to Jennifer Sperano. It's so interesting to see how excited the kids were this year, how every school is a little bit unique, but then there are some things that are just generally universal to all kids kind of going through that experience. So being able to kind of compare and contrast. I was excited because, and I think Pablo has a picture, one of my student council students actually graduated. There he is, Christopher Ortiz from Gaither. So again, he was on my student council and gave some really good feedback. So it was really exciting to be able to take a picture with him and share that. All of the graduations were just so excited, and I want to say congratulations to all of the families and to the students, and just to everyone who makes that event so meaningful and so easy and so much fun. So thank you for that. I also just wanted to kind of highlight that June is the start of Pride Month, and I want to say Happy Pride to everyone. And as a school board member, one of the greatest privileges is being able to get out of the boardroom and get into our schools to listen directly to our students. And last month, I had the honor of meeting with one of our gay straight alliances and speaking face to face with some of our really remarkable LGBTQ plus students. And hearing their stories firsthand was a powerful reminder of why the work that we do matters so much. They shared with me just how vital the GSA club is to their daily lives. And for these young people, the club isn't just an extracurricular activity, it's actually a lifeline. It's a space where they don't have to hide who they are. They feel an immediate sense of belonging, and where they find a community that genuinely lifts them up. And we as board members and district staff, we all know that when students feel seen, safe, and supported, it completely changes the trajectory of their mental health and well-being. And our GSA clubs provide that essential foundation of safety and acceptance. And every single student who walks through the doors deserves to know that they belong here, that they are valued, and that their voice matters. So as some of us celebrate Pride Month, let's reaffirm our commitment to fostering inclusive, supportive environments where all of our LGBTQ plus youth, our families, and our employees can thrive and feel valued. So thank you for that, and happy Pride. And just as we close out the school year, how much excitement has been going on. It's been so great to see, through the magic of social media, some of our employees saying goodbye and going on to next stages of their career, retiring, new employees joining, families celebrating. Each milestone, it's just never-ending excitement, so it's been a whirlwind. But I hope now we can all take a moment to breathe, go into the summer, maybe rejuvenate, relax a little bit, have some time, and then come back for another great year. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Washington.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. First, before I start, I want to thank the superintendent for your actions, quick reaction on the incident that happened at Barrington. We realize it's not the proper way to handle any situation at a school or try to cause discipline there. But you did a great job. You got on top of it. All the board members and staff, thank you all for getting on top of that. And I just want to tell you, Cabinet, you guys do a great job. See, you know, many times people don't know how hard you work because they never sat in your seat before. So it's so easy to criticize somebody when you haven't been there. But when you've been there, you realize how difficult the job that you guys do every day, Superintendent. We really appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate your hard work and the cabinet hard work. I want to tell Mr. Graves too. When you was a baby, you had a great afro. Did y'all see that? With y'all? Yeah, at the leadership. It was really. It was memorable. It really was nice. It was nice. That was a great presentation too, man. You did a great job. And Shay, y'all did a great job. Y'all really did. It was great. And the leadership, it was great there that morning. We enjoyed. We had a good time. Also, I want to recognize Ross Anderson. He was recognized in Big Brothers Big Sister Hall of Fame recognition. And Ross Anderson does a great job in this district. He really does. He's a hard worker. I mean, he really works hard, and he deserves that because that Men of Vision, look what he has done for the Men of Vision. And now, you know, it's paying off. Because you don't realize many times you start off with failure, but later on in life it becomes great. And that's what happened with Ross. He's done a great job. And then we go back to the Oak Park Boys Club at the Columbia. We enjoyed that. It was great. It was really nice. The kids, you know, those kids were really excited at Columbia Restaurant about in that gift that they gave them, Pokemon. Oh yeah, they love that. They trade cards off, you know, and they were talking about out of all the gifts, they really love that. And I understand, you know, when you're young like that too. Also, I want to recognize over at She High, Pablo, you have it. I think they sent, they have a gardener volunteer of the University of Florida, Hillsborough County IF Extension Office, Albert Coleman. Wish to thank the Hillsborough County School District for the role you played in rebuilding the raised garden beds and installing irrigation for Dr. Sullivan Burkhardt Interactive Science Learning Project at She High. And the kids, they're eating their own food. They're excited. That's something we really need. It's really unique. That was really good. Thank you. And last but not least, we did have a great graduation. We really did. Everybody was so excited. How many you said it was? 14,000? About over 14,000. You know, people can criticize all they want to. That's 14,000 students that really did a great job in Hillsborough County. We're going to have another 14, probably more than that, because our graduation rate is continuous going up. So I'm very proud of the accomplishment that we all are making here in Hillsborough County. Your staff, teachers, the board, you know, we work hard to make sure that we respect and understand kids and do the best we can do. So thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just be closing out real quickly. Just want to say thank you, Superintendent Ayers and the entire board for the graduation. It was amazing. And, you know, thank you to our communications team for all the clap outs. You know, I went to a bunch of clap outs that we went to, which was amazing at Citrus Park and beyond. 8th grade graduations that I went to, and then celebration. And thank you, Ms. Sperano, and also the security staff, Lieutenant Delgado and Sergeant Sweet, who led that. I mean, there is so much going on at the stadium to make sure, or I'm sorry, the fairgrounds, but to make sure that the security, everything went so smoothly with people coming in and out, with thousands of people coming in at one time and thousands of people going out at another time, and making sure it's a safe and secure experience and a positive experience. That was really, really huge, and it was just a great job. Just a couple things that, hopefully that we'll talk about this next legislation session. Every time it happened in every school, at least 1 to 5 or 6 students who didn't get to walk because of the certificates of completion, the HB 1105. There are kids who are still trying to take that test, and they're working on it this summer, and they didn't get to walk with their classmates. And, I even had a parent call me from one of the charter schools where, the girl had ordered everything, and she was just, her mom sent me her diploma with like tears all over it. And I also had the chance to go to a great graduation at Tampa Catholic, and I did think to myself, like, those kids don't have to take that exam and they get to walk across. So how is that fair? There was a young girl, I think it was at Jefferson, who had like a 7.1 GPA, did all her hours, had great attendance, everything was great, but she just could not pass that reading test because she'd been here for 2 years and English wasn't her first language, and we couldn't do a diploma. How is that fair that she could not walk across? So the certificates of completion, we really need to look at that, because it's unfair if you're going to have the taxpayer money go to one area where people can walk, and then the taxpayer money in another place and not be able to walk. So if you're going to do that, then streamline it all the way across, because then it's unfair. So if you're going to stop someone from graduating, then stop everyone. Don't just choose a few kids. And it breaks my heart. Like, one school had 5 students, and people don't think it matters until you're that child who doesn't walk across. And some of those students, that will be the only time they get to walk across that stage, and not being able to walk with their classmates is just such a disservice. And I think we need to keep pushing that and prioritizing that. It's sad that it started here in Hillsborough County, and it's impacting kids all across the state of Florida. And I think it's really, really, if you're not going to have that, have another plan after that. But thank you, everyone, for doing such a great job at graduations, and for your cabinet and all the, regional superintendents and everyone, your former assistant principals from, middle schools, elementary schools who come. It's just an amazing experience. So thank you, everyone. And thank you. It's like the first day of school, and then we had all those secondary principals already there, excited to work. Tomorrow we have the elementary principals. I don't think people realize our administration team, this is the time. They never take time off. They just get time to look at their data, and now they're moving on to looking at the next data, hiring positions. So can't thank those people enough who work year round. And I hope all of you have a great summer. And this meeting is adjourned.